Tell me once it pops up. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of the Tan Gentleman Podcast. In fact, it's our very first special, a Valentine's Day special. Today, as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Andin Flo Bandin, and our very special guest, Luke the Tender. And today, we will be talking about the amazing, the wonderful, the heartwarming Your Lie in April. Alright, we're actually doing the podcast now. I hope you guys enjoyed the intro. I spent like 8 hours on it. It was a pain in the ass. I think it turned out okay. I had to rush the end with my face like so much. But that's why
that was kind of glorious.
I did like that. I did like that a lot. That was great.
That's why I was like hounding Luke for photos for like 2 hours. I'm like, I need them. Trust me, please. I'm so happy.
Oh.
I had to put Kenyon in there somewhere, so I made him the girl, the red dressed lady playing the piano. And for those of you who don't know, Sebastian Toot was the blonde-haired guy, and he's the guy who directs you in Wii Music.
You put it at the Rock Kid?
Yeah, that took me all day. Part of me wanted to do a cover of the song, but I did not have enough time to both edit that and record a cover. So I chose to edit instead.
Did you just come up with that this morning?
I came up with it last night when I was trying to go to bed. Like, I was still trying to sleep, and I was like, oh my god. So I woke up, played Fortnite for like an hour, and then fucking did that till 5.
Oh, so that's when I messaged you.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, Luke, I need this fucking photo. Please. Holy shit. Anyways, this is the Tan Gentleman Podcast. The thing is mirrored on my perspective. So this is Andrew Tate over here, top G. That's Luke the Tender, and no profile picture down there. That's Andin, right there. Okay, just letting the audience know.
Oh, you're over there. It's different for me.
Yeah, I know, but on my perspective, I'm doing the fusion dance, from Fortnite.
Don't even start with that.
Go hunting Fortnite! Go hunting Fortnite! I got him!
Okay, just hurry up with your bad story summary so we can start.
Well, first of all, welcome again to this episode.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to do this one. This is probably the episode I've been most excited about since we actually started doing the podcast. Mostly because, probably because I really like Your Line April. I have a lot to say about it. I have a lot to say about it. And so we brought on Luke the Tender because he's a gamer, and also because he likes Your Lie in April. So, it's better having him on to talk about it than like Kenyon, who has never seen it. The only anime he's seen is Rising of the Shield Hero and like 40 episodes of Dragon Ball. The original Dragon Ball.
That just upsets me, really, having such a little knowledge of Dragon Ball. I don't allow it.
He's working on it. I made him watch OG Dragon Ball before Dragon Ball Z. Because...
As you should.
You told me to just watch Z. Landon's gone. Oh. Man, this is great. It's already the best, my favorite episode of the podcast, probably. I have this crushed juice box. I drank it, and I didn't throw it in the recycling. Yet. So right now, it's sitting on my bed, crushed. I have to wait till Landon gets back. So the first segment we do is the bad story summary, where I sum up the story, but horribly is the whole idea.
Okay, all right.
And then from there, one of us gives our opening thoughts about the thing. Then we talk about a variety of topics for a little bit, and then we end probably hour and a half, depending. So
right.
I think the longest one we've done is like 3 hours long. The longest one we've ever done wasn't actually part of this podcast, but remember when we did Fire Song in English?
Yeah.
So me and Landon, we chose our project to be a podcast. We got like a 80% on it, by the way, and we couldn't even show our teacher the whole file because it was 5 hours. We talked about literally every single part of the movie and book. Like, you were only supposed to do 1 or 2 subjects. We did like all 15. We picked it apart like inch after inch. It was beautiful.
I'm 90% sure I didn't do a final project for that.
I wouldn't blame you. It wasn't very good.
No, it was not. It was awful.
We tried doing that again, but neither of us remembered it as much. So we're gonna actually reread and watch the movie for another special later in the year.
Yeah.
Also, I got into film school, by the way.
Yeah, I did. I think you told me about that.
I probably did.
Yeah.
I'm moving to Van in October. So,
nice. That's good.
We should hang out, go to the bar, pick up women, then
you realize
open the door for them, and then close it in their face, and then run away because we're gangsters.
Yeah. I hope you realize that in October I still won't be able to go to a bar.
Oh yeah, that's funny. I forgot about that. Yeah, they won't know. Just grow your hair out again.
No, we'll just do the trench coat trick.
Yeah. I'll be the top. You'll be the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got muscles.
Yeah. We'd end up being a good 12 feet tall, but that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, hey, there's crazy, stranger things have happened. Luke. Luke, I just want to say this. You gotta grow your hair out. Your face is too long.
Oh,
I'm just saying, man, your head is like that. Like, I never noticed it before, but so is mine, to be honest. But when I was editing that whole video, it's like I had to flatten your face and widen it, so you just had like this weird ass complexion the whole time. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I think maybe I will grow it out long one more time because
You don't have to go like super long, but I don't think your face shape. I don't think it works all that well with the bald. Neither does mine, honestly. Back when I used to get like buzz cuts and shit, it's like I'm all forehead.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the thing is I am balding
Already. Oh, man. Sucks.
Well, like
to be
I was
you.
balding like in like 11th grade. That's when my hairline started receding.
Yeah, I know it's funny.
It's a tough situation. So I think before, like, because at a certain point you just can't have long hair and be balding. So I think I'll grow it out like one more time, and then you just kind of have to commit to like the super short bald lifestyle.
Luke, go with like the me haircut where it's just like the ring. No, it's as simple as this. Luke, I figured out your problem, right? We'll get a hydraulic press and we'll push your head down like that so it pushes out sideways. Round out your skull. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I know the secret to life, but I'm a scientist.
I can tell. I mean, yeah. I mean that it might work. I might end up dead. But who knows?
He just popped on, peeked his mic, said, "I beg to differ," and dipped again. Oh man, this is already one of the better episodes of the. I wait for Landon to like fully get back so we can do the fucking.
Do what we came here to do, you know?
Talk about lying in April. We should have done this in April, but Valentine's Day isn't in April.
Yeah, well, maybe we could make it in April. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll just change Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we'll just.
We can always do the manga in April.
That's true. Your manga in April. That's what we'll call it. Did it work? It worked! Sorry. I have Discord Nitro, and I've always wanted to try out this feature. So now my background, I'm covering up the main character. Head pats.
You should have put the one with our faces on there.
I will. I'll do that actually. Settings, video, voice, custom. I barely use Discord Nitro. I just think it's great. It's gonna have the title of the podcast in it, by the way. Like, I'd have to go re-export the file. I don't feel like doing that right now. So that's what we get. It's also reversed for some reason. So just have to deal with that, I guess. You see if you can. It's the right oriented way in my reverse OBS view. What the shit? I don't understand what's going on. Anyways, lying in April is bad. Unless it's your lie in April, then it's a fucking masterpiece. Boom.
Nothing happened. That's something that we can agree on.
Got a message back from those Fiverr people, but I'm doing the podcast, so I'm not going to respond. Fuck! My phone keeps falling over. The vibrations. I have it pushed up against my TV right now.
Oh.
That's how I'm doing this. Pikmin 3. It's gone.
Oh, Brady, what do you are you gonna get Hogwarts Legacy?
I don't know, maybe. My whole family wants it, basically.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get Hogwarts Legacy?
I have it pre-ordered, but the thing is, I only have a PS4, so I have to wait until April.
Like the lie! Like the lie in April! Whoa! Topic! I sat on my balls!
Oh yeah, if you play Hogwarts on stream, you're probably gonna get canceled by your six subscribers.
Hey, shut the fuck up, Landon. I have 30-something followers on Twitch now, so fuck you.
Yeah, but you're gonna end up
Never mind. 36.
on first years. So I don't know if your followers would go for that. Maybe they would. Maybe that's your blessing.
I hope this doesn't get deleted, but this is my Sesame Street stylus for my DS. It clicks in and out like a pen. It came with this game I found at Red Apple called Cookies Counting Carnival, the video game.
Cookies Counting Carnival.
It keeps deleting. The box is not like a normal box. It has like 4 boxes inside of it, making it very hard to do anything with. It also comes with a wrist strap that I don't know how I'm supposed to put on the stylus.
Maybe you're not.
The game comes in this little cardboard sleeve. But the stylus is really comfortable, so I've been using it to play it on my DS games. I like games. Anyways. Let's just do it. Fuck it. Landon, I'm doing my bad story summary. Fuck you. Alright? We're already 16 minutes in and we haven't even done it.
Don't worry, I'm here. I can listen.
Alright. So, bad story summary. Spoilers for all of your Lie in April, by the way. This whole podcast. Don't watch it if you haven't watched the show. If you have watched the show, watch it. Watch the show again, and then watch this podcast because the show's just that good. It's on Crunchyroll. They took it off Netflix, and I'm so sad about it.
Oh, what? That's lame. I'm gonna have to get Crunchyroll.
I have Crunchyroll. I got it for Mob Psycho 100 Season 3, and now I'm watching Your Lie in April on it. Funimation and Crunchyroll are fusing, apparently, so that's pretty sexy. Anyways,
that's awesome.
Bad story summary time, baby! Also, I got the special edition Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Nintendo Switch OLED. Anyways, bad story time. It's not the Fortnite Switch, but bad story time, baby. Bad story summary. Guy has depression. His mom is dead, and he used to play the piano, but now he doesn't. He has a childhood friend who's like, yo, bro, your best friend over here, Watari, he's pretty gamer. One of these girls in my class is all like, I want to go date him. And then they go out and they do all this crazy shit. She goes and plays the violin on stage. He's like, oh my god, I can see colors again. Oh! Then she makes him play the piano. She gets sick, dies. And he's pretty sad about it, but he keeps playing the piano after that. The end. How was that?
Well, I thought that was a pretty good summary. I don't know.
Landon? Landon's the biggest critique of them.
You waiting for my judgy review?
Yeah. He says that and then leaves. What an asshole. What an asshole. While we wait for his judgy review, this is my copy of Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt for a console I don't own. I found this under my bed. Oh, I can't even get it out. Never mind, I guess I won't show it. It's a GameCube game I found under my bed called Dork Alliance. 1 second. I just gotta. I think you remember this, right? The Holy Grail.
Well, of course. That's the SpongeBob Game Boy Advance.
There's a Shrek Game Boy Advanced.
Oh, how much? How much? I will pay $10,000 for that.
I know. I was looking at prices, the other day. I'm looking it up right now again. I got a console. I don't want Game Boy Advance Video Shrek. I want Game Boy Advance Shrek. Game Boy Advance SP. This one that's like broken, $134, $221. Honestly, not bad. I paid like $150 for this one.
Yeah.
The Shrek one, it's not as cool. It's just green and orange Game Boy Advance, but
doesn't have Shrek's face on it.
No, but it's still Shrek Game Boy Advance. And you could also get the Shrek movie on a Game Boy Advance cartridge.
Oh.
Yeah. So this person is selling it for $100, $120. And it's the Shrek movie, but compressed down on a GBA cartridge with like terrible compression. The same thing with like SpongeBob. Oh, it's beautiful.
Like you just watch the movie, but
yeah, on a Game Boy. You just
Oh.
you pop it in. You're like, and then you turn on the thing, and it goes. I actually muted it, and then but instead of I'm just gonna turn off the background. I can't show things to the camera with it on. Settings. Voice and video.
I'm back.
Hi, back.
I finished my food.
Damn. Get good.
Yeah.
Okay. I turned off the thing.
It seems like you're struggling to entertain the camera with a face cam.
No, we're talking about Game Boy Advances. So you pop it in like this, but instead of loading up, Chicken Little for the Game Boy Advance.
it just plays Shrek.
It just plays the Shrek movie.
That's so awesome.
You
Yeah.
think you can actually show that on Twitch and get away with it?
What? The Chicken Little for Game Boy Advance?
Well, just say you're playing Chicken Little and then start playing Shrek movie on there.
Well, you could literally pop in the GBA cartridge with the Shrek movie on it. They made them. Game Boy Advance Video. There's also episodes of SpongeBob.
Yep.
I actually have like 2 Pokemon episodes for the Game Boy.
Yeah, it's awesome. I hate that it's a thing, but I kind of love it at the same time because it's like
Yeah.
Game
Why
Boy
is it a thing?
Game Boy Advance Video. I don't know. It's portable enough. Now you're watching SpongeBob, baby, on the SpongeBob Game Boy.
SpongeBob on the go.
Exactly. Never before
I feel like we
seen.
should probably start.
This is a
podcasting.
pre-Netflix world, Landon. When I was a kid, we didn't have no fancy Netflix. We had to watch SpongeBob at 144p on our Game Boy Advances with terrible audio compression. Okay, little Billy? Now go watch your goddamn fucking Coco Melon and shit. That's me as a grandpa.
That's actually yeah.
It's called accurate.
You guys ready?
Yeah? You want
So what's your opinion on the show?
fucking amazing.
All right, on the podcast.
Yeah, we're on the podcast. I forget.
No
too.
opinion on the show, Luke?
My opinion, it was definitely something that moved me very well. I don't think it was a perfect show. It was definitely one of my favorites, but
it was
it,
amazing.
Weren't you crying on the phone call with Brady at 4 a.m. in the morning?
Shut the fuck
yeah,
up.
that
Yeah.
because I watched it in a span of like 2 days. I watched it in class. Like I started it the night before, watched it in class, and then finished it at like 4 a.m. that night. So it was like in a span of like 36 hours. And yeah, I did call Brady at like 3 or 4 a.m. because he told me to.
I did. I was like,
And
Luke.
I was just sobbing. I was just sobbing. Like I was like so brain dead tired. I was crying, like hysterically crying for the last 2.5 episodes. Like
yeah.
not tears. It was unreal.
I know. It was me too when I first watched it, and I remember you were like, I don't know how I can go on, and I'm like, I know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I couldn't even watch it a second time because it just hurt too much. Like I watched the first episode and I was just like, nah, this can't happen.
I know. I tried 3 separate times before I finally committed to it for this podcast, and I had to watch the ending while editing that fucking video, or else I wouldn't have been able to like be here right now doing this, or I would have been like, Landon, what's the meaning of life? Why are we here? Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
Is this the first show that made you question that?
Yes.
Not I Want to Eat Your Pancreas or 3 Days of Happiness?
I read the Pank manga. Like a year after I watched Your Lie in April. And then I read I Want to Eat Your Pank the same days Luke was watching Your Lie in April.
Oh, I remember that actually.
The reason why is because I want to feel depressed too. Pank, sad. I cried a little bit, but I was emotionally destroyed for 2 weeks from Your Lie in April. I couldn't watch anything.
I'm not gonna lie, the light novel's better than the manga of I Want to Eat Your Pancreas.
How do you know that?
I own both versions.
I like the manga better because it has pictures.
And you can't understand words. We already established this.
I just don't like reading. That's definitely part of it.
Yeah.
I love
Yet you're a manga reader now.
I am.
A lot of emotional damage.
I am.
Might have to go make some more.
Yeah, one. Your Lie in April is. I want to read the Your Lie in April manga first of all.
Yeah, we'll probably do that in April. But it's $10 per volume.
Isn't it only like 3 or 4 volumes? It shouldn't be that long.
There's 11 volumes.
Again, that's not bad.
No, it's only $110 ish. We could just pirate it. Just kidding. Don't pirate manga. Yeah. I mean, unless they don't have an official way to read it English, like JoJo, then you have no fucking choice. If you want to read it, you have to read the fan translations.
Well, unless you want to catch up with the show.
But
you'll just be lagging behind the show. Then at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, with JoJo, the anime is further ahead than the manga released in the West. They haven't even finished part 5 and they've already started part 6. They're like halfway done that. But I read part 7 and 8. I had to do it on the official scans, the scans and stuff. It was great. Hopefully they release the cool hardcover volumes that are $30 because I want all of those because they look fucking amazing on my bookshelf. Anyways.
For the only reason, just for your bookshelf beauty.
I'm gonna grab one right now.
I mean, good hardcover books are always nice.
You know what's something we should do on the podcast, Landon, actually?
What?
Uzumaki.
Uzumaki.
Yeah. I didn't like it very much, but I want to read it again. This is like the JoJo volumes. They're these... You don't see this often for manga, but they're like these really smooth, like thick-ass hardcover book. And also this was released in like the late 80s, early 90s. So they look like this on the inside still. Kind of rough around the edges art, but I love them.
Yeah, it's
I think
still
the only show
very
that
good quality book.
does that is
Nah, my Scott the
Berserk, isn't it?
What?
Isn't the Berserk the other series that does the hardcover?
I think so. Apparently Berserk is amazing. I've never read it or anything.
Yeah, but it doesn't have an ending.
Yeah, the manga.
Yeah. The author died before you can finish it.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Same thing happened to the guy who made High School of the Dead, apparently.
Oh.
I mean, they just stopped it, and I'm pretty sure I read when I finished it that he died or something, but actually, I'm going to look that up again. Because I actually really liked the High School of the Dead anime.
We haven't really talked about Your Lie in April until an hour in.
We're not an hour in.
We're 30 minutes in.
29 minutes in.
That's my bad. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy who wrote it died 52, March 22nd, 2017 for the thing. But yeah, we should we should. I got hair in my mouth. We should actually talk about Your Lie in April. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start with like something basic. I love the score. Like not even like the piano playing, but just like the openings, the endings, like all this, like the soundtrack, like composed for the show, is some of the best I've seen in anime, like ever.
Yeah. It really utilizes it.
Like the emotional moments hit like twice as hard because of the fucking music.
Yeah. And the atmosphere. That's another thing I noticed. They do use the atmosphere really well
Oh,
in the
it's
anime.
so good. It's so good. Like, oh man. I love the soundtrack. Even like the piano playing was pretty. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of just piano music all that much, to be honest.
I mean, it can be very utilized very well. If
Yeah,
it's played properly.
I think so.
That's
I
one
mean,
thing
like,
I'm noticing with piano now.
what if it's just the piano by itself? But when it's like part of the whole soundtrack or whatever, I love it. Second thing I want to touch on, I love the art style. The colors are amazing. Like,
And
Yeah.
I do like that at certain times they use different, like kind of different shadings to set the tone. Like
Yeah.
anytime that they go into like his dark background, then they just like the entire vibe is just changed. Just different tones, different shadings.
they mute the
Yeah.
colors.
And just kind of just shows like at what part he is in his life. Like even you notice in the first episode, he's like the colors aren't as vibrant until he sees the girl, and then everything's just like
It's like
so much more vibrant.
It's beautiful. It's one of the best parts. It's like, like watching the show, the art, like when they're playing like the piano and everything. It's like the animation, the art, the colors, like the emotion that it conveys by itself is stellar. Like it's one of the best. I've never read the manga, but I don't know if it'll ever actually be up to snuff with the anime adaptation, just purely based on how beautiful the anime looks. And I love manga art styles. I love them to death, but like, holy shit, the anime looks so fucking good.
It's kind of hard to top that.
They really utilized everything that anime has to offer compared to other forms of media in this show, I noticed.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, I absolutely adore the anime. It's so good. Like the art style, the music, everything. It's perfect. It also the art style itself is kind of unique. Like it's not a generic anime style or anything, and it makes it stand out all the more. And I think the colors work well because of that. When I first saw the show way back, it was on Netflix for like 4 or 5 years, and I was back big in anime, so I'd watch anime on Netflix. I would be scrolling through and I'd see Your Lie in April all the time. Your Lie in April, Violet Evergarden. It was like the two shows that I just remember always seeing. Netflix always told me to watch, and I never did for some reason. Haven't watched Violet Evergarden yet. I planned on it, and then I just never did.
Well, we should do that for an episode, because I also want to do that. I heard it's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah. So then they did, and then so like Your Lie in April, like Coyote's photo was like the one where she's upside down in the water, was like the banner. And I'd see it all the time, and it actually inspired part of Dried and stuff, like Alice's character design from that whole thing. Nobody really cares, but that was like inspired by her design before I had even watched the show. And it was like the art, everything, like that. The lip would like always confused me, and then when I watched it, I'm like, oh, I'm in. Okay, I first watched the show. Remember when I broke my ankle?
Yeah.
I had to travel to Terrace, so I cut off to get my cast off, to have my plate removed. So I watched it on the card ride there. I watched a couple subs in the hotel. Then I watched it on the way home, and then I finished it that night at 2 a.m. And I cried so hard. Like, I knew it was coming. Nothing could have prepared me fully for what was, like, how I was going to feel this time. Like,
what actually made you guys cry at this point? Was it her death?
that's part of it.
Well, that's the thing, is it's not just her death, it's like the character attachment that it builds throughout the time, and just it kind of sets you on a bit of a roller coaster near the end, because if I'm not mistaken, she goes and gets a procedure done, and
That's what. Yeah, there's a risk.
then things look better, and then it gets worse again, right?
No. So what happens is she is they walk in onto her in the hospital. The main character and Watari, they walk in and they're gonna go visit her, and then she like collapses and is about to die, and they resuscitate her. She's in the ICU for a little bit. She goes back to her room. Then they visit and they talk, and then she makes the decision to take this really risky operation because she wants to play with the main character again on stage. She wants to play the violin again.
Right.
And then
One more time.
And then, it's like life or death, and she goes out there, and she goes out, and then in the end, the operation fails, and she dies. I knew it was coming.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You know it's coming.
But it didn't hurt any less. And then it got worse.
Yeah. But the thing is just the way that they finished it off was just so good, because you are wanting, because the main character is obviously in love with her.
Oh, he said it in the thing. Oh, man.
Yeah, and you have the hope for him that, like, they're gonna get together and that she'll be okay. And that's the thing, is they make you hope for it. And in like his last piano ballad, he's like even saying, he's just like, please just live.
He's like, don't leave me alone. Don't leave me alone.
Exactly,
and then she fades away, and you're like, no! Oh!
And just the character attachment, and like just how they, it was just too beautiful. It really was.
It fucking, oh my god, it killed me on the inside when I and then it gets worse after that. Like, that's not even the worst part. It's her letter at the very end. Like I had finally stopped crying, and then I started crying again. It's like,
well, for me, I just kept crying because I knew that because they hadn't revealed what the lie in April was.
Well, yet. I thought what it was because she's like, she steps out onto the stage and she's like, we're all just faking it, it's the lie we all tell ourselves when we step out there. And I'm like, okay, so that's the lie in April. It's not. That wasn't the lie in April.
I had that thought too, and I was like, no, that can't be it.
Yeah, it seemed kind of basic, and then they hit us with that, and I'm like, can it be the other thing? I don't want to. I don't want to feel this way anymore. When it's like, what's my lie? The only lie I've ever told you. I like Watari, and it's like, no, you better not. And then she's like, I love you, and I'm like, fuck. Why?
And then that's what makes it hurt so much more, because she was in love with him and wouldn't tell him just to like spare him from the pain, but it doesn't spare him from the pain, because like then he's like, it's just, then he's always just left with like, the what if they had spent that time together.
He's like, he couldn't, because he went through basically the same thing he did with his mom with her, but like he liked her more than his mom.
Yeah. He's
like, could my playing, save her? It's like he tried so hard. Like he's like, well, she's the girl in love with my best friend. I'm just friend A, and it's like I just want to. I've never like felt like this while watching something. Like nothing has ever before or since reached so deep into my soul and brought out such a visceral reaction. I'm getting emotional almost just talking about it, as Your Lie in April. Like the first time I watched it, I think the only time I ever cried harder was when my grandpa like died actually in real life. Like, things like One Piece or hell, even Dragon Ball sometimes, like all this shit, they've all kind of brought tears, made me feel emotional.
But not
like this. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the art style, the acting, everything. It just pulled something out of me. I didn't know what was in there. It's hard to explain. It's really hard to explain. I can't put into words like how it made me feel. Like
another thing that I do want to add is that the dialogue was pretty well done. Like most animes that I've watched, they always have some kind of corny dialogue. And that's just how most animes are. Even the good ones still have corny dialogue, in my personal opinion.
I've seen some bad corny dubs of shows.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't do
this one was just it was just really well done. I thought it could have been better in my opinion, but it was still very, very well done.
I had to watch the dub for Your Lie in April. If I didn't, I don't think I would have been able to read.
I did as well.
I couldn't read I wouldn't have been able to read the subtitles. Simple as
that. You can't read subtitles.
I couldn't read the subtitles.
Well, I'm the only one who watched it in subbed.
I liked the sub actors. I tried and then I couldn't. It was before I could actually do subtitles. When I watched this, I was a real bitch about it until they'll never dub Psyche K season 2 and 3. So I just had to watch it subtitled, and now I do that. I had to watch One Piece subbed. I couldn't stand the voice acting in English. I tried watching JoJo in English 3 times, then I watched it subbed, and now I'm a JoJo fan. I usually prefer the sub for a lot of shows, but Your Lie in April is one where I can't. I have to watch the dub. I can't. I'll probably still cry watching the sub, but like I won't be able to read what they're saying.
I basically went quiet there because there's nothing I could add to the emotional part.
Nah, because you're a fucking robot. You're the human metronome.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this story affected me as much as I Want to Eat Your Pancreas or 3 Days of Happiness.
Again,
there still was lessons that I did find in this.
Yeah.
They spent a little bit trying to figure out what was sort of the overall theme or lesson of this. The only ones I could find was growing out of his trauma.
Yeah, it
was one of them.
Well, that's the big one. Is he's got to. It's about coming to terms with your past and moving past it, not letting it control your life. That's what Kaori does for. That's what Kaori does for the main character. I can never remember his name. Then, and then that's like the first half, and that kind of builds up to it's not about the second half of the story. It's more about coming to terms with your feelings and whether or not to act on them, because both he and his friend, the girl, me and the
childhood friend,
both are trying to come to terms with their feelings, and they don't want to act on them, but they both have feelings for Kaori and the main character respectively, but they're having trouble acting on them. Like, she's denying it. She's trying to convince herself that she's not in love with him, and he's trying to ignore the feelings that he has for Kaori because, well, she's in love with my best friend. And he's
getting emotional listening to this.
He's trying to deny it. He's trying to move past it, but he can't because he truly loves her. He cares so much about her, and it's it's hard. And then she gets ripped away from him, just like his mom did. The only people he ever felt that kind of connection to were gone. They died. They're not coming back, and he has to now live with this, and that's part of it. Is he's got to, and then it basically rubs salt in his wounds by sending him the letter because he's already depressed, and he realizes that he could have acted on his feelings in the end, and she probably would have said yes. And it's son of a bitch. I don't often read any kind of non-canon material for stuff I like, but in my feed one time, I was scrolling through YouTube, and in my recommended feed was this was like a Your Lie in April like fan comic or whatever, right? And it was in it the comic actually made me cry. I don't know who it was for or who it was by or anything. I wasn't actually expecting to bring this up, but it was our main character, he grew up to be really old, and then he died, and he went to heaven, and in heaven waiting for him was his mom and Cowdy, and they all played music together.
Oh, that's super sweet.
And
I'm
getting emotional talking about it. I think he just died of old age.
Oh.
I don't
All right,
know.
I will be back in just a couple minutes.
Okay. I'm getting emotional just talking about it. I gotta take a break for a minute anyway.
We should probably get Luke to do I Want to Eat Your Pancreas and
That's up.
3 Days Happiness, because he'll love those.
Oh, probably.
And especially he likes reading, so.
I just don't know if he'll
See
have
if we can
the,
get it back
I don't
on.
know if he'll have the time. We'll have to ask him about it.
He's working, he should be fine.
Oh.
There's also one thing I really noticed in this anime that I haven't seen any other anime.
Uh-huh.
They really animated the lips.
Oh yeah. Some of the singing is off lip sync in the dub because it's animated like really specifically. It's not the
I only
dubs.
went with the Japanese.
I mean, it's not a big deal. I just wanted to point it out. I mean, it's hard to lip sync in another language when it's like specifically done, because most anime is just like.
Yeah, that is true.
So I've noticed it in some when they're like. And stuff, and then they'll like dub over the word that they're saying.
Yeah.
I've listened
You know
to
what's
that.
one thing that surprised me on this?
What?
If you go on my anime list, and you compare this one to like something alright, like Steins Gate.
Steins Gate's amazing.
Steins Gate's rated higher than this.
Yeah, because Steins
I
Gate's...
don't know why.
Because it's fucking amazing, Landon. You went at it
Does
all
it
like...
get better?
It's amazing. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen. You
Does
went
it
in
get better after the first 12 episodes?
Yeah. It's like... It's part of the reason why I like it, but you were... I love the first 12 episodes, by the way. But you're like, the science! The science! The science! And not...
The science is wrong.
But you're not... But the science isn't the main point of the show! It's the characters!
But I don't care about the characters.
Because you're too busy bitching about the science.
And the characters are kind of boring.
What?
And annoying. Dude.
Shut the fuck up, Landon. Are you dissing my fucking man out here? Hoin Kiyoma.
Yes.
I wanted to buy a lab coat because of that show. I fucking love Hoin Kiyoma. I love Okabe Rinthrow. It's one of my favorite characters in all of fiction. Because he's like gamer like me.
Did you just compare yourself to a main character?
Yes, I did. Why do you think I picked you to be the main character of this one, or basically any of our sad shows? It's because you identify with them. Why am I the fucking girl all the time? Because usually they're the characters I'm most like. I don't know why, but it's just the fact.
This is a weird relationship and a weird part of the show we're talking about now, isn't it?
Uh-huh. We're waiting for Luke to get back.
Mm.
It's not my fault that,
Yeah.
other than the sport thing, I really want to develop a fan base so that we can get weird fanfic written about us. That'd be really funny. I'd love to read that.
You want to read a fan fiction about us?
I love stupid fan fiction so much you don't even know. It's one of my
I feel
favorite.
like we...
one of our favorite pastimes. Me and Cody. It was we would go and we would like use search tags. We try to find the strangest fan fictions. We have a system of rating the length, and it's how many Bibles long is the fanfic. How many Bibles? Not how many chapters. It's how many Bibles long. I think the longest was like 4 Bibles long we found. It was like...
You mean like actual book size on the computer screen?
No, I mean like how many
How are you
words, like
measuring?
word count. Like how much words are in the Bible versus how many words are in this fucking fan fiction.
Oh, that's long.
Like 4 Bibles.
What was it
4.
about?
It was like a Ruby. I don't even know if it was the longest one we found, but it was like a Ruby crossover fanfiction with like 800 things. It was insane. It was literally insane. Maybe that ought to be an episode. We do a fan fiction episode where we rate different fan fictions.
That sounds like good content.
Good content.
Hello, Luke.
Welcome back. Sorry, me and Landon were arguing about good shows and the fact that he's wrong. Just saying.
Oh,
And Brady wants fan fiction about us, apparently, for some reason.
It'd be funny. You know how fucking hilarious it'd be?
It would make for good content, but that's
the
about all I'm
idea.
saying.
when you go to film school, can you write a fan fiction about you and Landon?
That'll be the movie. That'll be my student film.
You're
for
gonna make a movie about us?
I could.
Are you just gonna make media animated me the whole time?
I could call the movie. I'll recast us as like really handsome actors, and I'll call the movie Two Boys One Podcast.
It'd be like 50 Shades of Grey, but like
50 Shades.
It could be 50 Shades of Grey, but like 50 layers of fat.
That'd be amazing. Oh, that's so funny.
That's gonna be a weird and interesting story to tell one day.
Landon,
We'll get famous and people ask us about our podcast stuff. Should we just bring up this clip?
Yeah. Landon will be like a grandpa sitting in his rocking chair, and he'd be like, you know, kids, when I was a boy, my friend made a porno movie about me and him doing it. I could never really figure out if he was gay or not. Well, that's my
I'm sorry
story.
in my answer each time.
That's my story, kids. And the kids would be like, but Papa, whatever happened to him? Oh, I fucking killed him.
Sounds about right.
I said something so funny. He died. And that's kind of
Surprisingly accurate.
weird. Because I'm not that funny a lot of the time. He's so much better than me on the podcast.
It was accurate to the last sentences.
I said a very accurate sentence. I'm old Landon. Har har har. And
When do I say har har har?
And then this is me.
I don't know. I've heard you say that. I feel.
You heard me say har har har
And then
har.
when
Absolutely.
Landon, and then I walk up as a zombie and I go, you know, kids, Landon's right. I did carry the podcast. Then I put on my aviators that I lost, and then I walk away.
As you should. So, Your Lie in April.
Great show. This is why we're the Tangentlemen, right, Luke? It's because we go off on a tangent.
Ah,
Because we
okay,
can
that
never
makes
stay
sense
on
now.
subject.
Makes a lot of sense.
We can never stay on subject, so that's what we named it. We put a dash in
I mean,
it, so we
we're
weren't
on
the
topic last few times, but it's not this episode.
Yeah, but last episode was 40 minutes long, and we played Fortnite for most of it.
Yeah, it's true.
Uh,
They had a really big budget for the show.
Oh God, yeah.
It's
I wish-
the biggest. The only other show I seen rival it is Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Work.
You should have seen. You should watch some clips from some Wano episodes of One Piece, dude. They're insane. They have like near anime movie quality levels of like animation in some of the newer One Piece episodes. It's amazing.
I imagine so, since it's become like one of the most popular anime series.
It's the most popular manga ever made. Also,
Over 100 volumes.
yep, over 1,000 chapters, 1,000 episodes. I read One Piece weekly. New arcs kind of, but there's some pretty good parts so far. Maybe I'll look back on it better when I'm not reading it week to week.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's one thing I forgot to mention about this anime. This is the only anime where a childhood friend has a good chance of winning.
Yeah, because the one he loves is
Win by default.
Yours?
win by default.
Win by default.
Default. I mean, I don't know. I ship it.
What, the win by default?
Yeah. I don't know.
Is that what we're calling it? Win by default ship?
I guess. I mean, I'm
The
not
only
gonna
other
like
competition is the person you don't know. So
a person
makes
who's
things easier.
literally dead.
I mean, there's also the other pianist.
Oh, what, that one lady?
Yeah,
I
the one
guess.
that nobody really cares about.
No, she's in like 4 episodes. She's Kenyan in the intro, by the way. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I
Forgot about her actually. I mean,
Yeah, I didn't remember I didn't really remember them until after I watched the intro again. I was like, oh yeah, I remember those guys.
you know, the neat thing about those characters, like his pianist rivals, is the fact that in like the larger story, they have their own little storyline going on, and I like how that one, even though it didn't get a lot of screen time, I like how it ended up and how it was resolved.
It starts and
I
ends.
like how they ended up with the certain respect for each other. You know?
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Like, I absolutely adore how, like, you know, it may not have been a big part of it, but both of them had their own, like, small character arcs in it, making the world feel a lot more lived in. Like, it wasn't just about, like, the two characters. Like, there was more stuff going on. And, like, his actions, because it was more like, I also find it was a nice way to reflect, like, you know, his mom did all this shit to him, and he did all this stuff. But because of this, it made these people do this very, like, become amazing musicians. It's like, because of the chain of events, it all led to that. It was like, it's really well constructed.
It was. I agree.
Every time I look up at my TV, I laugh a little bit every time I see fucking Andrew Tate. Sorry, I just laughed.
Have we mentioned Mother's Abusive yet, or did we forget to mention that?
I don't think we briefly touched on it and stuff. But yeah,
I don't remember saying it.
His mom hit him and shit, right? Like, beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, when
he was just 9.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. But she kind of justifies it. I'm not gonna say like you should forgive her or anything, but it's like she's gonna die. So she wants him to be amazing at the piano just because, you know, maybe he can, you know, live her dream and make money off of it instead of.
Yeah, he wanted to pass off her gift.
Yeah,
and she did love him, but the way she went about it was a little.
She went about it the wrong way.
1950s, but.
Yeah. Too desperate.
She had good intentions. That's the thing.
I think like the best part is like, because he doesn't have like a proper mother figure until halfway through the show, when we meet his teacher / like surrogate mother. Like, she was there, and you know, she acted as in that motherly role throughout the rest of the story, something he needed, which was just such a good idea, because now, you know, because the audience doesn't particularly care for his mother, right? So him being upset about it, we don't fully get that until she comes in and we learn the whole story. But still, now he has an actual mother figure in his life. So he's not alone, because like in the start of the story, he's alone. He lives alone. He doesn't do anything. Doesn't really go out with his friends or anything. But Coyote and all of his friends, everybody, they all come together in the end, and they break him out of his shell, and he's a better and changed person because of it. Like, if Coyote had never came into his life, he would have still seen the world in monochrome. He would have never taken up the piano again. Like, he probably would have done some awful things to himself.
Yeah, it would have only been downhill from there. Like, there would have been no upside. I mean, aside from his 2 friends that he did have.
Yeah, it's like
it wouldn't have amounted to anything.
Which such a good. It was perfect. It was amazing. It's like.
I guess also another thing about the backtracking to sort of the mother being abusive part, sort of with the flashback when we do see her with Deanne, we see that she explains to Deanne that she wants him to be better before she's gone, so he can live and be rich.
So that's what we said.
Be happy. Yeah, but we also do see sort of, what's the girl's name again? Kakuin?
Kakuin from JoJo.
know.
Emerald Splash. Cowdy?
Cowdy. Yeah, we do see sort of Cowdy go through that mini phase where she tries to push him.
Yeah.
One hospital scene where pushing him to practice nearly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
And
in order to become better.
I find it really interesting because I'm pretty sure in the show he did relate her to his mother.
In a way, yeah.
But the thing is that they both wanted him to push to be the best that he could be before their time was up. They're similar in that way, but the way that they pushed him was completely different, but for the same intentions. And I thought that was really interesting how they just showed that kind of different type of motivation type thing, you know?
The duality of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, we do see her being patient in the beginning. We see both of them being patient in the beginning.
Yeah,
But
because
as they're becoming closer to death, that's when they start becoming patient, being slightly more meaner, and a lot more pushier towards him.
I mean, but Cowdy comes around in the end. Like, I mean, she literally is like, "Would you kill yourself with me?" And he's
Yeah,
like,
double suicide. I forgot about that scene
Just
when I
like-
first watched it.
it's just like Domestic Girlfriend.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's another show we watched.
Yeah, and then it's like,
Oh, another book we read.
Yeah.
We should watch that show.
so, like they go through it all. Like, you know, he does go through a very similar thing with his mom, but in the end, Cowdy touched his life way better. Like, she went about it a better way. Yeah, maybe for a time she was a bit more pushy, but she never she never physically abused him. I mean, obviously they did this. They do the slapstick hitting stuff, like they do in all anime. Honestly, I hate it. It's really stupid.
I mean, we do actually see her backtrack when she
Yeah.
knows she's getting too pushy.
But it's like, because she Sorry, I dropped my copy of Game Boy Advanced, Donkey Kong Country that I found on my bed. Sorry, but she she goes through this whole phase and she comes back around because in the end she wants what's best for him and she wants to live. You know, he gave her hope. Like her parents even thanked their main character for for giving her so much joy. Like she was so much happier when he was around and when they were hanging out and stuff. Before she went in for her surgery, she's like, I know nothing about you. Do you like collecting stuff? Do you watch anime? I know nothing about you. I'm jealous of your childhood friend. Cause I can't remember her name. And she's like, I'm jealous of your childhood friend because she has all the answers. She knows all the stuff about you. I wish I did. He's like, when I get better, you got to tell me about it. And then he fucking dies.
And it's also an interesting thing that they had such strong feelings for each other with only knowing each other for such little time.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't have the time to really explore each other just makes it all the more sad.
God.
I'd say the only other shows I've seen that done it as well. Well, it's actually not even TV shows. It's just I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, light novel, and 3 Days of Happiness.
Yeah.
Which I'm probably going to get Brady to redo. Would you be willing to join through that, Luke?
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
For more emotional turmoil?
Landon loves putting me through shit. Landon's like, let's read the most depressing story known to man. And then he's like, what do you want to do next week? I'm like, I want to watch Spider-Man.
Yeah. I'm going to be quite honest, Luke.
Yeah.
After... I wouldn't rate Your Lie in April as highly as the other two I just mentioned.
Way better.
They're still amazing, but I wouldn't rate them as highly.
Your Lie in April, better. I'm just saying.
Because you don't understand words.
But also, Your Lie in April pulled something out of me I didn't know was there. They didn't do that.
I mean, they did do that for me, so.
Yes, you're an icy-hearted, cold fucking bastard. We've prefaced this. It's in the lore.
And shouldn't it be like a really impactful story if it managed to pull even me through?
I
that sort of emotional
guess.
turmoil?
I mean, all 3 Days of Happiness did was leave me empty.
Yeah, that is true.
Your Lie in April made me bawl.
I mean, what about I Want to Eat Your Pancreas?
Pancreas
That's something that they...
Pancreas made me cry, but like not all that much. I wasn't like ugly crying. You know, my dad just died. Like that's how bad I feel crying when I finished that. I was like kind of like. Anyways, I was like. My soul, it's gone. Take me with you. I don't want to live on this mortal plane anymore.
I still think the death in I Want to Eat Your Pancreas is more impactful.
I mean, the suddenness of it, yeah, but I think the
That's
slow.
slightly spoilers for that show.
Luke knows. We talked about it a little.
Do
Yeah.
you know about it, Luke?
Yeah, I was there when Brady read it. Like,
I finished
he showed
it. I
me-
finished it right next to him. The manga.
He like showed me the scene where he's like, "Can I cry now?"
Literally, you were
That
like
was-
you flipped through the book and was like, I can tell. Before I even read it, then I'm like, Luke, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that page. That was the one I saw.
One thing I think that I guess was slightly more of an issue with me that would have made more impactful for me was if they gave the characters more time to grow as a relationship with each other, but that's slightly different from what you guys are
Well-
saying where it was better without it.
I think so because the ending is really bittersweet. Is the idea? It's like, you know, she dies. It's awful. It's really sad, but you know, her just existing was enough. Like, saved this guy's life. Like she turned it around for the better. She touched all the people that she had. All the people that she had, you know, like seen, and she touched their lives in some irreversible way. He's like, in the end, he's like, how could I ever forget about you? You'll just barge in anyway. Like, there's nothing I can do. Because, like, in the letter, she's like, you know, you don't, like, will I live on within you? And he's like, I could never forget you. Like, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, she touched his life in such, like, a meaningful way, even though, you know, they didn't have all that much time together. It's not about how much time you spend together. It's about how you spend that time together. They went out,
Yeah,
they
but
did
exactly.
stuff.
I don't see very much time they spent together other than the music. That was basically their only passion that we see throughout
Well,
there.
Yeah, but the music is the way that they express themselves. They're musicians. When
That
they
is
get up
true.
on stage, they bare their hearts. They can feel each other through the music, through what they're playing. Like, he
Like
plays
the first time,
Luco.
like the first time that they played together, it was kind of like, I don't know. It feels like a conversation through the music. Like they're just learning about each other and discovering each other through their songs, and I think that is really impactful
Like
for their character attachment.
Like the way it is like, even then it's like, you know, he's trying to play, you know, like a robot. He's trying to play normally, but she's doing it her way. She doesn't care if she wins or not. She wants to touch the audience. She wants to reach them. So she plays the song how she feels that she should play it. Like what comes naturally to her. You know, and like the judges, like that one judge is like, he's, you know, it's like dragging the song into a street fight. But together, like, he's trying to keep up and she's leading the way. Like, both metaphorically and literally. Like, she's physically leading the path in his life, you know, helping him through everything by bringing him back into music, because that's how he expresses himself. When he gets out on stage and starts playing, people can feel his emotions. The very last, like, his last thing that we see him play in the concert is, like, he's playing the song for her. He wants it to reach her soul, whatever. And so he pours everything into it until at the end he's bawling because of just how much of his raw emotion he put into it, knowing that he would never see the one person he loved again.
Yeah, and it's inexplainable beauty. It's just
like the meaning, everything. It like, I thought this the first time I watched it, but honestly, I noticed it a lot more even the second time. Cause
Yeah, just what happened. He knows more details through it.
I felt it. Like, I understood it more. Like, I got it. One thing.
It also could be that you're more mature through this time watching around.
I'm not.
That's one thing I did.
I'm not. I don't know. How old was I? Like 3.5 years ago? What, 15?
I mean, it still doesn't mean you can't change.
No, I grew
did.
up.
Yeah, I changed.
You were the one who told me to watch Your Lie in April, by the way, Landon. I was thinking about watching some shows, and I sent you a list, and you're like, watch Your Lie in April. And I'm like, gotcha. This is when we first become friends, or whatever.
Yeah, you never watched Naruto until like a few years later.
I never watched Naruto. I read Naruto.
Yeah.
You've never even fucking finished it.
Yeah, I never finished it. This is sort of another thing while you're talking about the stage part where they're trying to keep up with each other. One sort of nicer details I noticed is that you can both see the sort of their outlooks after they fail.
Mm-hmm.
Their differences in their personalities. See her holding her head up high, even though they failed, even though she knows she failed, and him, he holds his head low. And it isn't until the second time around where he learns to hold his head up higher, where he's keeping his head straight with the audience.
One sec, my webcam crashed. Keep talking, yeah. I'm just fixing it.
When she's in the hospital and he's playing by himself. At that point, when he accepts his mother and he remembers the good parts of her and not focusing on the bad parts, you see confidence that he's holding his head up higher now. And you do see this sort of later on. And she knows it too. She points it out.
Yeah, that when they're up on the roof after she's out of the when they get out after, you know, he sees her almost die, and then he comes back and they visit and he brings her snacks and they go up on the roof. He's literally like, you know, she's like, you know, he's like, I haven't played the piano in a week. I was rusty. I'm not gonna do it. I'll fail. I'm not gonna be able to do it. And she's like, you idiot, you're gonna do it. You're gonna go out there and you're gonna play. He's like, you were rusty when we played. And he's like, yeah, but I was doing it for my part-time job. He's like trying to convince her and himself that he can't do it. He's like, it'll take a miracle. And then she stands up and is like, she raises her hands like, you're looking down again. And then she stands up and is like, look, a miracle can happen anytime. And then she sits back down. Because her legs are like, her muscles are atrophying. She can't walk or anything. Like, whatever disease she has, it's like destroying her body. And so she stands up. She stands up just to show him not to give up. Like, he can do it. And so he takes this to heart. He practices and practices. But he still is just like, he ends up moping. Like, he can't help it. You know? And he's like crying, like ready to vomit. He's sitting out there like contemplating whether or not to go out and play. But in the end, he has to go and play. If he doesn't play, he'll be letting her down. He has to reach her. He has to reach her soul. Even if she's not there, she will hear it. And then she does, I guess. I mean, she passes away. I mean...
Magic of music.
I feel like there's some sort of mystical element to play here. Because, I mean, literally, as I said, it's like, as soon as I saw her, my whole world, it changed. Like, it's love at first sight. There's no other way to describe it. It's like the concept was like the first thing that we're introduced to really in the beginning of the show, and it's true. It's like, at least in context of the show, is it's like love at first sight. Like, there was no going back. As soon as he saw her, he was just taken away.
Entranced, completely helpless.
He had no choice.
Like, exactly, and like he was so entranced by her that he had no choice. Even if he had wanted to, which you find out later in the show, if he wants to get her out of his head, he can't.
He can't.
Because it's just not an option. Even if he did want to, even if he did want to forget or let go, you can't, because it's just impossible with someone that you truly care about so that much. It's just overwhelming.
Like, you know, she pushed him out of his comfort zone. She reinvented him. She took a broken and like dying soul and brought it back, along with all of his friends. I mean, they helped. They were there to support them. Like,
but she was really the kickstart, you know.
Yeah, she was there. The whole it's hard to explain. I'm having trouble putting it into words because it's so well done. Like, I could talk about this for like, one of the biggest things is the black cat imagery. That the whole thing, right? Because his cat was a black cat, Chelsea, and you know, he let his mom throw away his cat, and that was a big part of like he will forever live in his mother's shadow. But that black cat eventually grew to represent him, and then in a way Cowdy, because when she's in the hospital going in for surgery and stuff, you know, he's walking home and the black cat gets run over, and he tries so hard to save it, takes it to the vet and everything, but it doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Is that the one with blue eyes?
Yeah, like it.
Oh, so that's the one we see in the intro.
Yeah, so it's like, I felt that, like, it's like the cat itself is like a representation of itself is a representation of how he was. Like, when, you know, first it's like it represents like his mom and his mother's shadow, then it represents him, and then he grows past it. But as soon as she's threatened again, it takes him right back to how he was when his mother was dying. But this time, it's different. This time, he's not going to sit there and be afraid. He's going to play his heart out. He is going to do everything he can. And he's not going to give up this time. Not like last time. And that's his big character arc, is he was stronger in the end. Because of Cowdy, because of his friends, because of everything he went through. He fought past it, and now he is a stronger and better person because of it. He is going to pursue music. Even if he can't hear the notes anymore. He doesn't care. It doesn't matter. He's going to play how he's going to play, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, that's right. And like the whole thing, his whole character arc is just getting over his depression. And even though at the end I still think he's definitely depressed.
Oh God, yeah.
He still has a better outlook on life.
Yeah. He's like, you know, springtime without you. No way. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but he's going to. This time, instead of when he's thinking about his mom or whatever, he's crying or he's sad, you know, he smiles. He embraces the fact that he's going to have to live without her, but he's never going to be without her because of her influence on him.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and I think it's a really beautiful thing, because now instead of focusing on the bad parts of loss, he's focusing on the good parts.
He's remembering her for what she gave him.
And in turn, she also helped him do the same with him thinking about his mother. He's not just thinking about her in all the bad ways. He's learning to appreciate all that she did for him as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. One of the big things that we've glossed over so far is, remember, he taught the little girl or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
Just got to that episode.
So that was another way of him to grow. Like, he's he's put in the position of having to pass on his knowledge, right? And teach her the lesson, and her and the kids, the people younger than him, the same lesson that Cowrie taught him, in a way, is, you just have to play the notes to perfection, is what he keeps saying. Like, is what all the kids are saying. Is like, but, it's cliche, it's stupid, but he's like, so what? It's not about playing the song perfectly. It's about playing it how you play it. Like, this is just a guideline. You have to embrace and move past it. Like, this kid has this really pessimistic outlook. He's like, puh, oh, Cowrie, she sucks. Doesn't even know how to play. And so when he goes out and he plays in front of her, or in front of him, he's, like, touched by, like, the raw emotion. It's like, yeah, no shit, right? They learn the lesson of, that he taught is like, it's not about playing the song perfectly. It's about playing with emotion. It's about
and playing with soul, really enjoying what you're doing.
Exactly. It's not about winning. It's about, like, the path to that point. It's about playing the song how you want to play it.
And in like the passion behind it, why you play the music. Because you're not just playing it just to play it. You play it because you either love it, or you're playing it for someone, or you're playing it,
Like, that's the entire reason why the little girl, because she's one of the rivals' little sisters, and the reason why she wanted to learn was because she wanted her music to reach her older brother, right?
Okay,
her hero. Because as soon as our dude left, he was like the main rival. He lost a lot of his motivation. He wanted to, like, he could have gone to Europe or everything, but he wanted to prove to our main character that, he's better, like, he practiced. And so he pours all that into his songs. And his little sister wants to reawaken that spark of, like, of how it used to be. She wants to, like, bring back her hero. And in the end, like, her song, at least part of it, reaches her brother. Like, she's... Like, it touches him. Like, he understands now. Like, she worked this hard because she wanted to impress him. She's not ready to commit her life to music, but she learned the same lessons that they all did because of what Cowrie did, and because of what his mom did, and everything. All of it leads up together. It all connects. Every natural story beat flows into the next in such perfect order. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's just like it's just a chain of influence,
Yeah.
The way that his mother and Cowrie touched him, and then the way that he touches his other competitors, and then the way that the competitors and him touch the student. It just
Everyone.
It
sounds really bad when you say it like that.
Do not take me out of context.
That's how I'm gonna put. I'll edit this clip, post on the YouTube. It's like, Andrew Tate, Cotton 4K, Top G,
saying that he was touching students.
Oh, fucking stupid! I love it. Yeah, I don't know. It's. I love it. It's just. Oh man. This is one of the best things I've ever watched. Like, it's easily in my top 10 things of all time.
I don't think they could have done better. I'm gonna be quite honest. There's nothing I don't say that they couldn't.
I honestly, I don't know. I think my one criticism is, boy, did the characters mature a lot in 2 years. They go from looking like they're 4 to being like 18 in the span of like 2 years. It's like, what the hell?
That's true. They're in middle school.
Yeah, they're
supposed to be in middle school, and I don't know how.
Yeah, that's my only criticism, and it's not even a big deal, really.
And you don't really notice them until they stand right next to a high schooler.
Or they show like the kid them, and I'm like, wow, that must have sucked. That happened like when he was 4, and then it's like, that was 2 years ago. What? Yeah. But it's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. I think the story itself, I would say it's a masterpiece. I don't think there's a single thing I would change.
Yeah, even some of the scene choices, like the pool scene, which is something I really enjoyed surprisingly, because it's one thing I actually caught, which includes foreshadowing, his growth, and sort of the story representation of it. Because this is sort of when they're lighting off the fireworks. I don't know if you guys remember this.
Yeah, I remember.
And they start talking about their future plans for high school. And as they're talking about it, they ask the girl
Cowley.
what her plans are, and she doesn't have any.
She's like,
And we see hers go out.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, I never really
Yeah,
thought
we-
about it, and then her light goes out.
Yeah, we see hers go out before his, and then we see her goes out first, and then she slowly dies down talking. And then immediately right afterwards, we see she takes his and she lifts it up and points it to the sky, which is sort of an accurate representation of how she changed his life.
Yeah.
He went from
a
looking
good
down
point, really.
to improving his life.
Yeah.
Then immediately right after that, we see him sort of fall into a pool, somewhat, whatever. And then that's sort of when the obvious lesson that he comes to, that even at the bottom of the water, he can still see the light.
Yeah.
That's just one of the more beautiful scenes I think I've seen in this show that I actually did catch.
And I love the scene when the where, remember when he was a kid and everybody was jumping off the bridge into the lake, and he's like, no, I can't, and then he his friend pushes him off, and he falls in, but he has fun.
His friends were bullies.
Yeah, but then he ends up having fun. He wants to do it again. And then we cut to when Cowrie is trying to convince him to do it, and this time he jumps in of his own volition. Like, he doesn't have to be pushed. That's another way to show that he's grown, is it's literally him doing the exact same action, but instead of having to literally be pushed, he has that metaphorical push, and he does it himself.
Yeah.
Like, he takes that leap. He embraces his change and this new outlook by literally jumping off the bridge into the water. Even though it's
There's
freezing.
also-
Again, it's also her influence. Like, that just keeps coming up. Like, he probably still would have had to be pushed in if she didn't tell him to jump.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That's the thing. I just love how it all works together. It's just works so well.
Well, yeah, this is sort of another thing I sort of noticed, but this might be different from what you guys were looking at. But I found his friends were sort of horrible in the beginning. They were trying to help him and push him. But the one thing I'm saying right now that I notice with general real life is that you can't help someone who doesn't want to help himself.
No.
And this is something we do see in this show, sort of with the jumping off the scene part. When he wants to get himself help, when he wants to help himself. And this is sort of influence that she had on his life. And that's sort of when you sort of see his turnaround in life happen. When he jumps off the bridge, when he wants to get help for himself.
Well,
And embraces the change.
part of me agrees, but I think you can't directly help somebody who doesn't want to be helped, but you can push them toward that conclusion. It doesn't matter how small it is, just being there, that can push them towards a better mental state. Like, I've had friends and stuff, they text me they'll text me at 4 a.m, and I'll be there. I'll text back because, even if they're like still working things out, just me being there sometimes is enough. Just you being there is enough. Like, his childhood friend, she, literally in one of the scenes, he's like, I'm just a soulless machine. It's like just after his cat got taken, and she's like, no, you're not. Your soul may be buried, but it's still in there, and I'll help you find it. It may take a while, but we'll find it. And it does. It takes 2 years before he finally starts to melt, before he starts to thaw, before he starts to embrace being human and being alive and loving and losing again. It's like he never was alone, though his friends just being there would stop him from doing horrible things because he cares about them.
Yeah, exactly.
Cowrie was the big push, but if it wasn't for the constant support of Watari and his other friend, he may have not even made it this far.
That is true.
And it was like,
Think about that part, though.
And
So,
the big bittersweet nature of it all is that, he ended up meeting her and stuff because of the lie in April.
yeah.
It's like his life is better off because she lied to him.
Which it's
Hi,
a very
Kenyon.
interesting thing.
I mean, it also could be argued that it would have been just as... He would have been just as happy if he got to spend as much time with her as possible near the end.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Kenyon. Kenyon's in the chat, by the way. I just want to say hi.
Yeah. Because that's something that 3 Days in Happiness does. Is where they know they have limited time together, but they embrace it and live it to their fullest.
Mm-hmm. Well, he doesn't know he has limited time with her until, like, near the end. Till, like, episode, 16, 17.
Yeah.
It's like, he's like, in his mind, he's like, when I wake up, she'll always be there. She'll be at school the next day. She'll always be there with me. But then she's not. And it's like a really sudden thing. As in, he doesn't want to visit her because it brings up, like, memories of his mom. But in the end, if, the less he visits her, the more he regrets it because, he's like, he doesn't want to get in the way of them being alone and stuff. And it's like, it's because he can't stand to see, her and Watery flirting and stuff because he loves her. He can't stand that he wants to be with her so bad, but he's like, in his mind, he's like, no, it's not going to happen. She's in love with my best friend. But, if he doesn't visit her, he's going to regret it. His friends are always like, come on, let's go visit her together. And he's like, no. And he's like, they push him to go and see her. And then she pushes him to play the piano and do better and practice. And it's all like one continuous thing of like all of his friends in the end are what are supporting him and keeping him going. Like they both failed at their, his childhood friend, like all of his friends fail at their dreams in the show. Like,
well, they still have a second chance.
Yeah,
they
but
just
they wanted to, they wanted to win this season. They wanted to, be the best. They wanted to play the violin. They put all of their hope, all of their, all the time, all this everything into him, and he knows that, but he's still having such a hard time of acting on it. But they keep pushing him, and he keeps going for it. He takes the chance, even though he'll probably suck. He hasn't been practicing. He still goes out there and plays his heart at the end.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah, I agree. I very much agree with that statement.
So, you say the suddenness of the death. Would you say this one had more of an impact than something like I Want to Eat Your Pancreas?
I say they have the same amount of impact, but for different reasons.
I do. That part is true.
Like
they both had different meanings with their death.
With I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, it was more about like, he may not have been all that. He didn't have any friends or anything. Like he was a loner. The whole time he was like just some loner, and he never like knew what he always like in his mind thought of. This is what people think of me and stuff. And so
predetermine their opinions first.
She changes his life and gives him that push to go out and talk to more people and be friends with people. With this is he already had friends. He already had friends. He had life. He had part of a family, But Cowdy instead pushes him to overcome his trauma and all of his obstacles because that's what's best for him, because he needs to grow up. He needs to let go and learn to not let his past define him. Take the good from it, but don't forget the bad. Just don't let it rule his life anymore.
Yeah.
And so Cowdy gave him hope, and in the same way, he gives her hope. That's why she goes in for the surgery, despite knowing that she'll probably die from it. It's because even if there's the slightest chance that she could play the violin again, she's going to take it. Right? And so, throughout the whole story, we don't know if, like, how bad her illness is right until the end, where she's like, I'm going to die. Like, I know it. I don't have a lot of time left. So she takes that risk and goes on to like the living and stuff. And then, but with Pank, it's more of, we know that the character's going to die. That's literally the first thing we learn about her. And yet we still grow attached. And the way it's framed is, it's like, you know, he's like, they say it in the manga and stuff, is he's like, you know, I know she didn't have years, but I thought she would at least have a tomorrow. But the world doesn't discriminate.
Yeah, because
the suddenness of it. Because it's like, and it was hinted at. It was hinted at halfway through, and then it's like, holy shit. But it's like,
well, it's both hinted at that they're both gonna die midway through.
Oh yeah, but like Panks was a lot more like, it's like a passing detail that you totally forget about, and then it's like,
yeah,
it all makes sense.
Yeah, but there's also more of a meaning, I guess, you can take away from I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, is that before she died, but she lived every day knowing that her illness, that she's going to die in 3 years. So she spent as many times as she can enjoying herself before she died.
Yeah.
It wasn't until her sudden death, not because of her illness, because of a random attack, that's supposed to be similar to us.
Yeah.
So we can die at any moment. Doesn't matter if we're ready or not.
No. And
but she chose to live her life to the fullest.
That's the idea of, that's the message of I Want to Eat Your Pancreas when compared to Your Lie in April, which is more about not letting your past define you, moving past your trauma, and, you know, doing what you actually love doing. You know, sure, you might need a push sometimes, but just go for it.
That's sort of another thing I realized was sort of, I feel like I was comparing a little bit of apples and oranges compared to all three of those series.
They're all good, but they're all good for different reasons.
Yeah,
is the thing. I mean. It's just like, that's why I don't like comparing things to other things, unless they're like literally like just like nearly identical. It's because you know, you know, like Star Wars and Star Trek, for example. I like both, honestly. I've never seen a lot of Star Trek, but I've seen some like old episodes. They look great, by the way, for the time. Oh, stellar editing and cinematography. It was the greatest episodes I saw. But you take like Star Wars and Star Trek, people always compare them. It's like, oh, this is better, but they're totally different. You know, Star Trek is about going places, discovering, you know, different planets and doing all this shit, where Star Wars is about like a lot of like fighting and politics and shit. You know?
Well, can't that also be argued for Star Trek?
I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of Star Trek, but probably, yeah.
Yeah. They seem more ordered based in Star Trek than Star Wars.
Yeah, and Star Wars is a lot more like, it's got a lot more fantasy elements to it for like a sci-fi. Yeah. I love Star Wars, but it's like, I don't see like how you can compare the two together other than that they're both in space and they both have ships and they shoot and stuff.
They both have star in the name, that's why.
Because like when you're trying to compare Your Lie in April, 3 Years of Happiness, and I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, but they're all different. They all have different strengths and weaknesses
for their story. Yeah,
for the
they
story.
All have like a similar basis, but
yeah,
it's not the same. You can't compare.
You can't compare them. That's why I don't like using the idea of like comparing things to other things unless they're like, you know, I'm comparing Mario Kart 8 to Mario Kart DS. It's like, they're both Mario Kart games. They both have a lot of different strengths and weaknesses, but they're both Mario Kart games. So they're easier to compare together than like, if I was like, Mario Kart and freaking Just Dance Kids. Alright? Which is better?
Well, Just Dance Kids.
Obviously. I mean, it's actually still in here. I didn't think it would be. I lost a lot of games when I was a kid. But it's like, it's not a fair comparison.
Yeah. They both do different Well, they do similar meanings to come across their point, but they do it very well and very differently.
Yeah, like
where meanings come out differently for each story.
Your Lie in April is my favorite of the three, easy. But I can understand why you like the other two because they're both great. I just think I like Your Lie in April more. I felt its message a lot more than I felt the other two's. I felt way more attached to the characters than I did the other two. But I'm not gonna like shit on you for it because they're all different and they all have their own very good strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I'm just wondering now. Now I'm starting to question: is if was it because of how the messages were conveyed? Because this one, the other two were sort of in manga form, well, light novel forms. This one was in like a really highly done anime form.
I think that's part of it. Is Your Lie in April's presentation in the anime is fucking flawless.
It's the best.
It's easily one of the best anime I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like bar none. Like there's no contest.
No, that's good. It's probably going to be your higher standards.
Like,
I wonder if for next episode we should do like a reward show for like our favorite episodes that we've done
maybe.
so far.
Like, yeah, this is my favorite. This is by far my favorite. I think this is the best. We've been going off topic a bit, but that's part of the branding, right? This has been.
Well, I mean, they're similar enough we can get to it, but they're not enough to compare.
No, for me, like this episode has been my favorite.
It has
me
been
and
probably
Luke,
the best.
me and Luke bounce off each other so well, and we've actually been able to have like really good and in-depth discussions about the show, and also it's pretty funny. We've been making jokes.
Well,
and shit.
Brady, I will say that I do bounce off you more than you bounce off me.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I say something stupid,
Just-
and then you say,
I'm
I'm provoking.
I just meant like physically, like literally.
Ha ha ha! Fuck you. This is why I brought the webcam.
Do you remember when you like blasted me into a bench?
Oh, you're so scared. You never did that again.
Well, yeah, like we like went to chest bump and you like sent me back
Boom.
30 feet.
Because we both ran at each other.
Yeah,
You both run into each
You
other.
remember like the
because
family
we were
Guy?
gonna chest bump.
Yeah, we did like the boom. You remember? It's like in Family Guy when Peter and Chris were with the two matches and they're like unga bunga unga bunga unga bunga. So me and Luke, and then Luke just went flying like halfway across the gym into a bench. That was so funny.
Well, to be fair, I was roughly 150 pounds, so
I
with
was
that
like
momentum, I was just
I
on.
was like 300. It was what happened.
Nearly double his weight.
That's what happened. Yeah, that's what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. One lap, Luke.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh man,
Mm.
that's yeah. I mean,
But I will say, Your Lie in April is, so I don't rate TV shows and movies in the same category because they're
No.
completely different.
I agree.
But
I prefer shows personally.
Yeah,
I'm
you
more-
get more
I'm-
detailed.
I'm personally more of a movie guy. Like, I agree you can get more out of TV shows, but I just like the fact that, with a movie, it's basically like you have maximum of 3 hours. How can you make this amazing? You know,
Yeah.
it gives them kind of a cap and like what you can do with it.
Yeah,
And I just think that's really interesting.
I'm more of like I love movies. I want to make movies and stuff like it. But like I've been a fan of like really long series, you know, like One Piece, JoJo, Dragon Ball are some of my favorite things ever. And part of it is because there's so much to them, because there's way more I can sink my teeth into, much more I can speculate on, talk about. With like a movie,
Right.
if Your Lie in April was like an hour and a half long, we would have been done the podcast by now. There was no way we could have talked
Right.
for over. We're running on an hour 45 right now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like we there's no way we could have talked this long about it without moving on to something else. And like that's part of it is I think the format of the show is like when a movie is. I think a show is a lot harder to get good because a movie you're in, you're out. You know, hour and a half, whatever.
Right.
But with a show, you gotta go like 4 hours, 5 hours. Like this one's like almost 8 hours long. You have to have enough story and plot and character development and everything to suffice the length of 22 or 24 episodes, as is like a normal TV season. And it's like, you know, when it's done well, like One Piece was nearly flawless for almost 10 years before I actually got bored watching it. First time I got bored was on Punk Hazard. which is like episode like 650.
Yeah.
Like there's no other show I've ever done where I've like there's some parts of Dragon Ball Z where it's like I watched all the filler first of all, where I was bored. Garlic Junior Saga.
Oh, don't even get me started on the Garlic Junior Saga.
Saga was amazing in the abridged version. Dragon Ball Z abridged is still like awesome, but it's like Yearline April. I don't think there's a single episode I found boring.
No, there wasn't really
me.
a single scene that I found boring.
I was like, this is pretty good up until like minute 10 of episode 1, and then I'm like, I'm in. You've hooked me. I'm gonna watch this entire show in 3 days.
I was honestly skeptical about it when I first watched it, when you recommended it to me.
I was like, Luke, you gotta watch Yearline April. Because you and I have like probably the most similar taste when it comes to like shows and stuff out of like everyone I know. So I'm like, this, if you ever, I'm pretty sure what I said is, I literally said, if you ever take any recommendation I give you ever, do this one. That's how much I thought you would love it. And you did, and you were like, Brady, I fucking hate you right now. It's so good. Yeah. And I'm like, I know.
Yeah, I was skeptical at after the first episode, the first half of the first episode, I was like, okay, what the hell is he making me watch? This is corny as shit. But then after the end of the first episode, I was like, well, I can't just stop watching. Yeah.
It's sort of one thing that surprised me was when I actually quickly went to go look at the reviews online that someone said the pacing's kind of bad in the show.
What the fuck?
What? It's a short series.
I don't understand. The only reason I can see that is if they don't like piano music.
It's like, right. But those scenes are what elevate the rest of it. Because that's
kind of like the whole show.
That's the point.
That's probably why.
I don't get it. The pacing is nearly perfect. I don't think there's a single scene that I thought was like, this is kind of going too slow or too fast. It's like each episode, some episodes may have gone, done little events faster than others, but that's because there was, not as much like slower or some more somber moments. It was more like setting up stuff for the more somber or sad or amazing, epic, fucking fly in my room moments. That's my favorite part.
I'd say the only part that sort of got slower was sort of the romance scene after episode 12. That's the only part I can see where they sort of got slower.
But I don't think that being particularly slower was a bad thing.
Yeah, but it's more or less probably because I was less interested in their relationship parts.
Well, but that's just how you are.
I really enjoyed the overcoming the trauma part. That's the part that I really enjoyed from this.
Mm-hmm. It was great.
No, I've never I don't even think even if it was a little slower for you, I don't think you could say the pacing was bad because it wasn't.
I wouldn't say it's slow at all.
That part of it was what it was building up. It was important for us to see because that was was the next arc of the story.
I feel like if you just thought this show was slow, you're just entirely an action fan.
Yeah, no,
just through and through, just nothing other than high-paced action the entire time.
I love action shonen. It's one of my favorite genres. I've seen Dragon Ball and Naruto and stuff, but the best parts of those shows are the emotional connections that you form with the characters.
There are some other fighting shows that people watch just for the sake of fighting.
Well, that's fine.
I know a few. Even I do.
Part of it was part of JoJo for me is most of the show is action, right? It's a lot of fighting, but there's also those emotional moments and the attachments that you get with the characters, like a long running action shonen is one of the best things you can ever have because it can hit you out of nowhere with the feels.
That's great.
One Piece is all about Luffy rocking up, beating the shit out of somebody, and then fucking walking away, and then you get to Arlong Park. Luffy, help me. Luffy's like, of course, and you're like, oh, I'm crying right now. I'm hyped.
Did they meet Nami the first time?
No, that's Buggy. That's Orangetown. But no, Arlong Park is when One Piece went from good to great. I
Yeah.
really liked like all of it, Brody, all that stuff. Great. And then Arlong Park. I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in,
that's
boy.
so right.
I'm in, boys. We're going. We're moving on now.
Yeah.
And then I like Arlong Park more than Alabasta personally, but like Water 7, fucking I cried twice during the Water 7 in his lobby arcs, dude. Sean's been watching One Piece and he's like almost to the part where where I probably cried the hardest. Because I cried like 4 times watching Whole Cake Island, because it was about Sanji, and he had done nothing for like 500 episodes, and then they're like, here we go, and I'm like, fuck you, stop making me care about Sanji again. I'm into it now, okay?
Is that when they meet his family in Kingdom or something?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
And I'm like,
that.
I'm like, oh. Like, there's like this really emotional scene where he's trying to light his cigarette and he can't, and it's like, no, I'm crying right now.
Oh, he has to light his cigarette. That's like half his character.
You gotta keep watching One Piece. They have
Except
up
for
to like
the 4chan
Water
character,
7.
the lollipop.
Yeah, I was like, how are they gonna do that in 4chan? He can't light his lollipop. He's standing out there. He pulls it out and it's finally gone. After 400 years. After 15 years, Sanji finally finished his fucking lollipop in the 4Kids dub. But it's like...
Is that even still going on?
No, that's 4Kids defunct like 15 years ago or some shit. Oh. But like, back to like my ideas, like Action Shonen, like it has epic fight scenes and stuff, but the most memorable parts of the story are like the really hype moments or the emotional moments. Like the most memorable moment from Dragon Ball, the 2 most memorable moments I should say from all of Dragon Ball, Goku's Super Saiyan transformation after Krillin died, and Gohan's Super Saiyan 2 transformation after Goku died. Like that solemn, you know, Goku just watched his best friend get murdered in front of him on an alien planet, and in his mind, like he doesn't know that they've brought back, you know, like everything, like Piccolo's like dying, and he's like, you know, this tyrant, you know, he killed my entire race of people. He's murdered Vegeta. He's beat up my son. He's almost killed Piccolo, and now he's just murdered my best friend. And he gets so pissed off that he becomes the legendary Super Saiyan. And that is the moment that sticks with you. Like, the most memorable moment in Dragon Ball is that. And then when, you know, Gohan gets so, you know, taken up by his rage that he gives Cell the chance to self-destruct. And Goku sacrifices himself, and Gohan blames himself because it was his fault. He didn't finish off Cell when he had the chance. He wanted to play with him more because he was just so mad. And then, when Cell came back, he's like, this time, it's not happening. And Vegeta, when fucking Cell kills Trunks, Vegeta flips out, and he attacks Cell. And he is like, he goes to attack Cell, even though he knows he has no chance. And then Gohan gets in the way of Vegeta dying, and Vegeta apologizes. And then, in the end, it's Vegeta distracts distracts Cell just long enough for Gohan to get the upper hand. It's like, Goku died. Gohan inherits all of this knowledge, and he fucking blasts him one arm down. You know, and his dad's words echoing in his ears. He's like, you can do this, Gohan. You can do it. And he's like, Gah! It's like, those emotional moments are what stick with you. So people who are like just fans of action, I'll never understand it. Because, yeah, I like the fights in Dragon Ball or JoJo, but that's not the part that I remember the most. It's the parts that had me on the edge of my seat, the parts where our characters were at their lowest and they picked themselves back up and started fighting again, regardless of how bad the odds seemed. that's the part that really gets me. That's why, like, Your Lie in April, it's like, you know, it's a redemption story. It's a story about someone who's at their lowest, being picked up from nothing and coming back. It's like the entire show is that part of One Piece. You know, it's that part of Dragon Ball. That's what this show is. And I love it.
That is really what makes it so powerful, so beautiful.
Like,
But I think the only reason I think I can agree with an action person is probably because they don't understand it. So that was probably also in that party. They didn't connect with those emotional scenes as much as they probably should have. But that's sort of the part where I noticed and I related to. They probably just didn't understand it. So that's how I was.
Yeah, no,
until starting this podcast show.
Yeah, I like action movies and stuff. Fine, but like, you know, if you gave me the choice to watch like an old 80s action movie or something like The Lord of the Rings, I'm taking Lord of the Rings any day. Because it's the, you know, it has cool fight scenes, but it's like the emotional journey of Frodo and Sam is my favorite part. When I was a kid, I was all about, oh, this Battle of Helm's Deep. It's like, Frodo and Sam, boring. They're not killing orcs. But now I'm like, the fight scenes are cool, but it's like, I can't carry it for you, Mr. Frodo, but I can carry you. Come on! And I'm like, yeah! Sam! Let's go!
Sam
I
is
have
the
to watch Lord of
greatest.
the Rings.
Sam is
We'll do
the
it for the
best
podcast
character ever written, in my
Sam,
opinion.
The GOAT!
Like,
The GOAT!
Any show, Sam is the best.
It's like no matter how...
Well, maybe not the best, but like he's top 5 characters of all time.
It's like no matter how shitty Frodo like treated him, he never gave up because he knows that it's the ring. He knows what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And like Frodo's like passing into darkness, and Sam's just like, Sam's there. He carries him into Mount Doom, and you see Sam like break when Frodo refuses to throw the ring off the edge at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the part. And like when Frodo leaves, or you know, when Aragorn's like, you bow to no one, because it's like everything they've done so much. They're the small little dudes, and they go on this big fucking adventure, and they do like so much. And it's like that's the part that people will remember. Is it's not like I don't remember every detail of the Battle of Helm's Deep, but it's like when King Theoden arrives at Minas Tirith, you know, coming to save the day. It's like, we ride to ruin, toward the Red Dawn. And then they fucking charge in. Or, you know, Frodo and Sam's carrying Frodo up the thing. Or, like, when they're charging the Black Gates, and he's like, Aragorn's like, there will be a day when the strength of men fails. When we all run in fear, we throw away all the bonds of fellowship. But that is not this day. Like, that's the part that stays with you. This was my project, is in peer tutoring, was you won't remember an entire story. It's the moments that stick with you. That's the most important part. Is it's like, yeah, maybe there's some shaky writing here and there. But the big moments in One Piece, like, you know, Nami is like, I want Luffy, help me. Or, you know, Luffy slaps Vivi and he's like, you've got us. We're your friends. Put our lives on the line too. We're here to help you. That's the part that sticks with you. Like Cowley teaching him how to play the piano when he gets out there and he plays the song for her and they do the duet, like in his mind and shit. That's what sticks with you. I'm not going to remember like every small detail of the whole thing or what the songs were called. It's the moment that stays with you forever. It's the same thing in life. It's like you don't remember every little detail of everything you've ever done, but it's like those happy moments, those sad moments, that's what stay with you. And
the big impactful moments that really make a difference.
Mastering that in storytelling, I think, is the key. Like right now, I don't think I'm very good at like conveying a lot of stuff, and I'm working on it. I actually have a little YouTube channel right now where I'm like dedicated to like I'm telling stories, and I'm just trying to get better at it. Like I'm critiquing myself, and but I know I have a grasp of the idea of the moment, because this is what I found important, was like when I think back about things, it's not like I don't remember every small interaction, but it's like, you know, us chest bumping, or, you know, us working on our board game, which I actually have right here in the Peppermint Park. Like, this is the stuff that stays with me forever. Like, I don't think I'll ever be able to forget it, because it means something. It's part of who I am.
Or like, there's no effing way.
There's
Luke.
no effing way, Luke.
You like this is an inside joke we don't get.
Oh my god, yeah.
Chat here.
Luke was like, Luke, we were in, what was it? What fucking, we were in chemistry?
We were in chemistry, and Josh and Chris weren't there that day.
Yeah, because I usually sat with Chris, you sat with Josh. So
Yeah.
we sat together for like the first time, and then we're sitting there, we're fucking sitting there, and Luke's like, take the S out of safe and the F out of way, and for about 10 minutes, like, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking about it, I take a page, I write Safeway on the fucking page, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like trying to work it out, like I'm taking out the S, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I turn to Luke and I go, there's no effing way, Luke. And he looks at me, he's just like, exactly! And we fucking died laughing. That was so funny. I absolutely love that story so much. We're just, oh man.
And then we proceeded to make a shit chemistry project. I don't remember even what it was, but
I know we fucked it up really badly. I passed chemistry with like a 60.
oh yeah, I barely passed. Like by the skin of my teeth.
I passed it basically because of my final. I put like all my effort into my final because we were so much of our grade. But like,
Yeah,
that
I messed
kind
up the final.
oof. But that kind of stuff, that's what stays with us, man. Or you know, Boss Team Purple. We're back together. I just realized Boss Team Purple.
It's been a while since I heard that.
Yeah.
You
You
should
know,
probably
that
explain to
was-
everyone
that
what that was.
That was my introduction to Landon.
That was basically like, well, why I got close to Landon. It was just 'cause,
Yeah.
like, basically we were in like cooking class, and then there was like 4 different stations, and they were all labeled the colors like red, yellow, green, and purple. And then it was us 3. We got teamed up on purple, and then like ever since we just kind of like in all of our other classes that we were in together, we would just like Boss Team Purple it up, because I don't know why, but we worked so well together. It's like Luke had the tiny, like in robotics, you had the tiny fingers. So, like, you had, like, the thin, like, careful hands so you could reach in and you could scroll all the shit. I was, like, coming up with these crazy designs and shit. Like, I was, like, reading the instructions, and then Landon was the smart one, so he did most of the work.
I'd make sure your designs were actually practical.
Yeah, and shit. That was the best. Like, that, like, I love that. Like, that stuff will I remember that, so that's so fun. We're Boss Team Purple, baby. Oh, man.
Forgot about the robotics project.
Yeah, remember when we built the 3D printer that didn't work because we didn't have
Yeah, and then it got thrown out.
We didn't have. There was no. We didn't. We went off like 3 different improper instructions. It printed like 2 things and then it broke. We could have just reused the motors and stuff. Probably could have made something cool out of that.
I think they did reuse the motors.
Probably
They
we
put
didn't
in
have
something
very
else.
many. But it's like, damn, there was a lot of stuff like. Oh, sorry, I burped. But it's like July and April. I don't know. It brings out this kind of nostalgic feeling in me now. It's like, especially probably because it helps that you're here and we haven't talked in like a year or whatever. What, you left in the summer and it's been what, like 8 months now?
No, not that much. It's how many?
Because you left in
months.
August, right?
September 1st is when we left.
Right.
Oh, that's 6 months.
yeah.
That's like 6 months.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6
Yeah,
months.
6 months.
But
Yeah, because that's around time I started.
literally
working.
haven't talked to you in 6 months. Last time I talked to you was like, I texted you a couple times, but last time we talked,
That's about it.
last time we actually talked was literally the day before you left. You
Yeah,
you came to see me at work, and I was sweating
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah.
It's like,
And that was the last time I saw Chris too. Actually, that day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got another girlfriend now.
Yeah, yeah. He told me about that the last time I saw
He
him.
didn't tell me until like a week ago.
I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, but you don't talk to him. We haven't gotten him on the
That is
podcast
true.
since like episode 4
Yeah.
when he said
Like,
the
That's
N
what it
word.
was.
He was trying to say like a Japanese word for like this like VTuber group, and then
It was Nina Sanji.
on my end,
Sanji.
it perfectly cut off when he said and the word,
And for some reason, when he cut off, it actually did make the G sound.
yeah, he's just like
That did not help.
yeah, Nick, like that. It was so funny because he
It only cut out for him and Kenyon.
only
so.
cut out for me and Kenyon, but like that's all that mattered. I was the only one screaming. I was the one recording everything, so I have it on there, and it was perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah, that isn't on YouTube yet, is it?
I mean, no. I mean, it's on YouTube, just not. It's not public. It's private still, because I have to edit out some stuff. Because we used to say a lot more like not great stuff on the podcast. We've kind of chilled out with that now.
I don't know why you're including me in this. I haven't changed.
I don't know, Landon. You talk a lot more.
Yeah, that's about the only difference.
I don't know. I think this has been.
I mean, I actually became better with my understanding of movies now since we actually started the show.
Yeah, because
I don't think I would have noticed that one pool scene detail unless we started the show and started looking at it in closer light.
I think one of the better episodes we did before this one was Kung Fu Panda. Even though,
That's so good. Don't even get me started on that. That's fucking awesome. I love Kung Fu Panda.
We covered the first.
Which one is your favorite, Luke?
Which one?
Yeah.
I personally like the second one, but the first one is the best one.
I like the first one.
That is respectable. That would have
Like
been very
the thing
disappointing
is,
if you said
thing is,
third
they
one.
are all good. Like 1 is the best, 2 is the second best, 3 is the third best, but number 3 is still a crazy good movie. It's still fucking awesome.
I
Really?
I was like honestly I kind of agreed. Like I remember hating the third movie when I first watched it. So when we redid it for the podcast, I went in with as low expectations as possible, and I actually came out enjoying it quite a bit. I think a lot of stuff kind of came out of nowhere, and I wasn't a big fan of quite a lot of the things in it, but it was still a really good movie, especially for children.
Yeah, in terms of animated movies, there's a lot of shit animated movies.
Like DreamWorks,
and it was good.
Like I never like I don't like Disney movies really. I it could be just because I didn't grow up watching a lot of Disney movies. I grew up watching The Lion Kings. But I mostly grew up watching Pixar and DreamWorks, but a lot more DreamWorks.
Yeah,
Yeah, DreamWorks always produces really high quality.
How to Train Your Dragon is still one of my all-time favorite movies. The second one is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. Like I watched like the Netflix cartoon over and over and over and over again, and I did not like the third movie. But I don't care.
It can suck for both Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon.
Like DreamWorks
Can't
is
change
like
my opinion.
they made 2 of like Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragons. I never grew out of those really. Like I didn't.
You can't grow out of that. It's just too awesome.
Like I grew out of like the Lion King and the Little Mermaid and shit. Like you know, I that's just me. Like I didn't really feel like still don't feel like going back to those, but because I don't have a lot of nostalgia for them because I was like really little. Like I remember Blue's Clues more than I remember fucking Lion King and shit. But I was obsessed with those when I was a kid, especially Cars.
But I will say the one Disney movie. Well, there's also WALL-E. But
WALL-E.
WALL-E's the only other Disney movie that I think is just like straight superb, like straight excellence, which in my opinion is the best animated movie ever, is Ratatouille.
Oh, obviously.
Ratatouille is so good.
But what
It's
about
like
the
an
bee
actual.
movie? Come on, Luke. According to all known laws of aviation, bees should not be able to fly.
Oh yeah.
Like bee movie, I don't know. Like yeah, I liked Ratatouille. I watched that a lot when I was a kid. But like, I personally like How to Train Your Dragon and Kung Fu Panda. Like some of my all-time favorites. Like they're classics. Like, I'll rewatch them like whenever. Like to me, like I grew up watching those and like the original Spider-Man trilogy, Blue's Clues, hell, I grew up watching a lot. I watched a lot of older movies, right? Like I don't have a lot of nostalgia for like cartoons of that era or anything, because I didn't really watch those. Like I watched a lot of older movies. Like when I was a kid, I would watch like Star Wars and Back to the Future, Lord of the Rings, shit that's like way older than I am.
They're both really good movies, especially Back to the Future.
Back to the Future's great.
It is great. It is amazing.
We got to do it on the podcast sometime.
Yeah, and I'm still disappointed in you for saying that movie wouldn't work nowadays.
I don't think so. I mean, I think part of the charm is lost when I think newer movies lack a lot of charm compared to older ones. Because as like
there seems less passion in there.
yeah, like everything's a lot more corporate. Like I find them to be less funny and shit sometimes because it's like there's a lot of like older movies and I think like the messaging is lost because now they're all just designed to entertain. They're not designed to teach us anything.
Right.
Which is like why I like when I grew up. It's like the messaging of movies. I didn't really get it until I was an adult, but it influenced me regardless. Like my opinions on a lot of things, like especially responsibility, I didn't fully understand it till I rewatched the Spider-Man movies like 2 years ago, and I was like, I understand why I care so much about this now, because it was ingrained by my psyche, because I watched these movies over and over and over again as a kid. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. Ever since I was like a baby. My baby photo has Spider-Man's shoe in the background. That's how much I like Spider-Man. I was like 4 months old. And I still love Spider-Man. To this day. Like
yeah, quick question. Are you a Marvel or DC fan?
Here's my opinion. Very controversial, possibly.
Luke pulls his phone close to him and says, like, I'm not a nerd, drops it and walks away. Smashes his phone screen again.
Marvel movies in the whole are better, but they do get a little repetitive at times. But
Yeah.
DC overall is shit. Except for the Dark Knight trilogy,
Yeah, that's a good one.
the Batman movie, and the Joker movie.
Are we just talking like overall? Are we just talking overall, like just movies, or like in general?
I was just talking about the movies. I haven't seen enough
Yeah.
of the shows to have an accurate opinion.
Good, because I haven't seen a lot of them either. But like Isaac would have killed you.
So you don't care for like Wonder Woman or Suicide Squad 2?
I've never seen Wonder Woman. Suicide Squad 2 is okay. I thought the first one was more funny, but the second one was definitely better. But I just don't think particularly like DC is trying to be Marvel is the problem. It's like
Yeah.
but their characters are not Marvel characters. Like imagine a world where they make the new Batman movie and Batman's talking like Iron Man, but that's not Batman. Like DC is a lot darker in comparison. So like when they try to like make it all slapstick and funny like Marvel, in the Justice League movie, Flash trips and falls on Wonder Woman's tits. It's like, oh, it's so funny. It's not. No. Play it more seriously. That's the way to go.
Apparently they were trying to play it more seriously, but then they kicked out the director and they replaced him with a new director, and that scene was actually added by the new director.
Yeah, no, I know. It's because they're fucking stupid.
And apparently they weren't trying to go with the same Marvel thing. They were trying to go with the more adult thing, especially if you look back at Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
But that's sort of not Superman's type of character.
No, Superman's is not like you could put more like hopeful characters in dark situations like Spider-Man and stuff. But you can't have them like you don't want to theme the whole story about it being like super dark and brooding and just like, oh, I'm Superman, is because that's not how they are. Like a Spider-Man who doesn't sometimes quip isn't Spider-Man. But like the Spider-Man who quips with bad guys but then also knows when to take a situation seriously is the best Spider-Man.
You know what's weird? Considering most of the problem with DC movies. Most of the directors had free will.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Wonder Woman 2.
Mm-hmm.
That is the most free will the director had.
Awful. Well, I
Yeah,
mean
the
that's
director actually wrote the movie.
yeah, because
That's the last
that's
lie.
the thing is it's like creativity comes from limitation, right? Like with Back to the Future, they had to. So what's his name? Michael J. Fox. He couldn't, like, he was working on a show, so he couldn't film any of his scenes during the daytime. So they had to basically any scene with him is like it's all at night usually, and when it's not, like when he's like eating dinner with his family, like they would shoot like the shots of his family eating and talking, and then his like 12 hours later, because that's just what they had to do. Or like they had like a strict deadlines and stuff for like a lot of these movies, so they had to they had to like rush, but they had to cut corners, but they still would like use all of their like creativity to make them good. And now, like, when you give someone like full creative control, sometimes it can come out great, but a lot of the time is you need those limitations set in place for something to be truly good, because now you have to come up with a creative solution to overcome this thing, which shows how good you are at actually making something.
Yeah.
Well, but the examples you listed aren't really creative freedoms.
Well, I'm saying like
Well, creative freedom restrictions.
Well, it's like if you like say you have to brand deals and stuff. A lot of like you got to come up with like creative ways to implement them into the story. Like one of my favorites is in what's it called, Wayne's World, right? It's like they just straight up do them in the movie as a joke. They're like, oh, I hate advertising. He's like, oh, Pepsi, the taste of a new generation. And like looks at the camera and shit. Like, 'cause it's just funny. It fits like the tone of the show. Or like,
just noticed you're wearing a Back to the Future shirt.
Yeah, I am actually. I'm wearing my Save the Clock Tower shirt because it's one of the few that fit me. But like another big thing is like the new Deadpool movie, Deadpool 3. Apparently, it's not going to be R-rated.
Really?
Because it's in the MCU. So, will they still be able to make the show funny, or the movie funny, without having to without doing all their dirty jokes and stuff like they did in the first couple, like in the first two that made them like so popular? We'll find out. I don't know if it's true. I just read that somewhere, like when the first trailer came out. I think
it's going to be PG.
I mean, if it's part of the MCU now, then like it's got to be.
Well, I don't think it's part of the MCU.
I'm gonna Google it.
Because it does have Wolverine in it.
Yeah, but they're also like probably gonna bring the X-Men at some point.
I mean, most of the X-Men is already tied in with Deadpool. I don't think Ryan Reynolds would let it become...
Okay, apparently it is, yeah. Apparently it's going to be R-rated.
Yeah, because I don't think he's going to let it go PG.
That's good.
Yeah,
Kevin Feige confirms Deadpool 3 will be in the MCU and will be rated R. So it is going to be in the MCU. Never mind. But like,
really?
Yeah.
They're going to get Hugh Jackman in the MCU?
Yeah, I mean, he came out of retirement for Wolverine just to play the character again because he wanted to be in Deadpool 3, so...
Yeah.
Like, goddamn, like... I think we're talking about Marvel now.
I mean, we're fitting with the name.
The Tan Gentleman. I mean, I'm fine with it. Like,
I mean, we're nearly, 3 hours at this point?
2.5, almost 2.5. We're 2 hours and 18 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that we veered a little bit off topic.
Same thing.
Ever so slightly.
Iron Man. Iron Man's like, yeah, he's all related to Your Line April, It's like, Iron Man, his mom died, and so did the guy from Your Line April. It's connected. It makes sense. It all ties together. Come on. Didn't you know that? That's actually him all grown up. Remember that part? Remember that part when Tony Stark steps out on stage and is like, this one's for Kaori Miyazono. Starts playing the piano in his Iron Man suit. He starts playing AC/DC on his piano. He's just playing Back in Black. It's my favorite part. And then it turns out that Captain America actually gave Iron Man's mom or Bucky Barnes gave Iron Man's mom her sickness, so he wants to kill him, and then Steve Rogers is like, no, it's not his fault, it was Hydra. He's like, I don't care. And then he goes to recruit Spider-Man to go fight Black Panther. And Black Panther plays the piano abroad, and he hates the guys, and they stole his music.
Did you guys watch Black Panther too?
No.
No, I don't know if I plan to.
I've heard that it's the best MCU movie of Phase 4, but that's really not a high bar.
I think it's really good.
Oh yeah, well you hated the first one. Didn't you?
Yeah.
You really did not like the first one. I thought the first one was okay. I just haven't watched any new Marvel stuff other than Spider-Man No Way Home that came out, like 2 years ago now? Almost.
Yeah. If you were to watch one, just watch Black Panther 2. It's a good one.
Yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder. Actually, I watched Doctor Strange too. I watched Multiverse of Madness, which
I actually really enjoyed Multiverse of Madness.
I think it had some neat visuals, but I really wish they played into the multiverse and madness part a bit more. And I think the speedrun evilness of Scarlet Witch was was really bad, because she did some bad stuff in WandaVision or whatever unconsciously, but then it's like the book corrupted her or whatever, and I kind of wish it was more of a Frodo in the Ring situation, where it was more of a gradual thing, like throughout the different shows and movies that she shows up in, she becomes more and more evil and more like focused on her kids, until it eventually all culminates in Multiverse of Madness or whatever, where she's like full on evil.
Yeah. I thought it was an alright show until I realized, until some point, seeing it pointed out online, that it's just an intro to that new superhero.
Yeah.
Not really even about Doctor Strange at all.
No, it's about America Chavez. Which,
I
I
got
don't know.
disappointed and sad about it.
Because I like Doctor Strange a lot.
Yeah, I liked the first one.
The first one had some, amazing visuals. That was my favorite part.
It was amazing.
And I watched, sometime we gotta do on the podcast, Landon, is we gotta do, there's some older cartoons. I think one of the better ones would be Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Da-na-na-na-na. Our world's about to break. Na-na-na-na. Tormented and attacked. It's just an amazing show, great theme song, but it's basically what the MCU should have been, in my opinion. It's way better than it, and it still operates under a kid show, and then they but then Disney canceled it. Disney canceled literally all of my favorite shows. Okay, I hate them. Spectacular Spider-Man, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. They canceled them and then replaced them with worst shows. Okay? I shit you not. It's yeah, I love Star Wars: The Clone Wars. It's one of the best. It's the best piece of Star Wars media ever, bar none. And then they're like, sorry, we're canceling it because we just bought Lucasfilm. And then it's like, fuck you, Disney. And then they're like, and then they make Rebels. And everyone's like, Rebels sucks. Rebels does suck, by the way. It's not very good. There's some good episodes, but it mostly sucks. And then they're like, and then they bring back Clone Wars, and it does really well. And people then this is my the reason why I think Bad Batch exists is because they're like, shit, people actually liked Clone Wars? What? What do we do? We got to make money off Clone Wars. We can't just bring it back. We just ended it. Finally, it's the final season. Those 4 guys in those 4 episodes from the last season that we just made? Give them a show and make it mediocre at best.
As soon as you said kids cartoons, I immediately thought of that Looney Tunes video.
The one that you showed
me. In general. Luke, you should go watch it. It's in general.
You sent the clip in the chat. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the. I'll play the audio. On the stream.
I think we're gonna get canceled if we do that.
4 little, 5 little, 6 little
That's
engines.
the one little
Uh-oh.
engine,
Sorry,
two little
that one was an
engine.
F-breed.
That's a good
7 little, 8
Pretty
little,
sure you
9
can't
little
say that, but
engines.
we'll probably censor it
10 little
later on.
engine boys.
Like, oh man, I love it. It's so funny.
I find it funny.
It's a classic.
I love that.
It's not
We
rated.
really did have no chill back then.
No. Oh man. I find that hilarious that that's even a thing. Like, I don't know. It's like at the time it's probably normal, but now it's like hilarious. But also back to my
Yeah.
point, it's like Disney canceled fucking Spectacular Spider-Man, Avengers Assemble, and fucking shit, and they replaced them with all these like way less good shows. So, fuck you, Disney.
You have to save the money.
Like, they replaced them with, like, worse shows, like an Avengers cartoon that was more based off of the Avengers from the MCU and not, like, from the comics and shit. Like, I got introduced to, like, Black Panther and Doctor Strange stuff from from that cartoon, not from, like, the movies. And that's kind of where I got my opinions. Like, I love T'Challa. T'Challa's one of my favorite characters. Like, he's awesome. He's one of my favorite superheroes. I love Black Panther. Mark Hamill also played in, like, all of my favorite shows as a kid, and I never knew that. He played in Avengers, and I'm pretty sure he may have played something with Spider-Man, but I'm pretty sure he was in an episode of the Clone Wars too.
Mark Hamill.
That's Luke Skywalker.
Oh yeah, he also played Batman.
Yeah, no, he plays the Joker in like all the cartoons, and he also played the main bad guy at the end of. He played Fire Lord Ozai from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah, he's in like,
so awesome.
like I never noticed until I like Googled it, and I'm like, it's fucking. He's in everything. Why is he in all the good shows that I liked? So
He has good taste.
literally,
Until the new Star Wars.
yeah. Well, I mean, he probably was like contractually obligated to do that and shit. What the hell is this? I just saw something pink out of the corner of my eyes. It's balloons.
We should probably do Avatar on the show.
Avatar:
Then
The
we
Last
compare it to the
Airbender.
Mitter Legend of Korra.
No, you know what we'll do? We'll watch Avatar: The Last Airbender and then the James Cameron Avatar movies, and then compare them and see which one's better.
Yeah.
Obviously, Avatar: The Last Airbender. There is
No, it's like
There's no contest. There's not even worth. It's not even worth debate. We all know Aang is elite.
Wait, are you comparing like Avatar, like the new one that just came out?
no, it's
I
like-
haven't seen
That
the new
Avatar,
one
the
that
blue
came out,
people?
but-
I have not seen Way of the Water yet, but apparently the
haven't.
next one's going to be about the Na'vi, the fire Na'vi, because this one's about the water Na'vi, and then we'll get the Earth ones, and then we'll have James Cameron's Avatar: The Last
No.
Na'vi Bender.
The first Na'vi, they were the Earth ones. All right. We need the air and the fire now.
Yeah, well, I mean, because like if we went by Avatar logic, it was water, earth, and then fire, technically.
Yeah.
You know, apparently that movie got outsold by Puss in Boots.
It didn't get outsold. It reviewed better than Puss in Boots, or by Puss in Boots. Apparently, Puss in Boots and the Last Wish is like genuinely a banger. Like I haven't seen it.
I want to watch it.
You know, whatever you say about Spider-Verse is one of the best Spider-Man movies ever. But like, it changed the animation game. Like action animated kids movies and shit look so much better now. Thank you, Sony.
They also had some pretty good songs on there, but then again, Sony has their own label company.
Yeah, they're also they're fucking Sony. But it's like, damn, like we gotta do a lot more stuff on this podcast. This is episode 24, so Landon, we've been doing this for almost half a year.
It's a long time.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever be stopped. Like, man, this has been my favorite episode in a long time.
It's probably our best one.
This is our best one yet. We stayed on
Well,
topic
it's the
for
one we
almost a
actually
full
talked.
hour and a half.
And we actually talked about it well.
That's true. Kenyon says I call
I
it
haven't
the
even looked at my
Spider-Verse
notes.
style. No, you want to look at your notes, see if there's anything we didn't cover.
Well, I can. Just more or less all the notes for the ones I already... All the memorable ones I already said, like the pool scene. I'm
Yeah.
surprised that isn't, like, actually seen on... Can't find that scene on YouTube. Howard A. Middle School. haven't seen another anime where they animated the lips.
Yeah.
Childhood friend has a main character and introduces him to the love of his life. Just introduced him to a rival. There's something I don't understand. He still has a piano and talks about to his abusive mom when she's dead. Why is he still hanging on to the trauma from his mom?
Well, he can't help.
Is that because he only knows the form of love? Only form of love he knows is because of her.
Well, that's all he remembers. Because his father's never around, so the only like thing he remembers from like his mom isn't the part that like that mattered, like where they were like being kind, and the part where like he only remembers the bad stuff and the reason why he quit playing piano.
Yeah, exactly.
It's because he played it so that his mom could get better, and then like the last words he said to her was that he wanted her to die. It's very similar to the beginning of Blue Exorcist, which is a manga we're going to cover on this fucking podcast sometime, Landon. It's one of my favorites. Is like the main characters. The main character. The manga.
The
anime sucks compared to the manga, dude. Manga's amazing. But the main character's dad. The last thing that he says to him is he's like, don't stop pretending like you're my father," because he's not like biologically, and that's like that what kills him in the end. It's like that one moment of weakness that was caused by those words is what like. What ends up like having the main character carry it for the rest of his life and trying to like move past it and do right by his dad. So it's like it's not the exact same thing, but I'm just using it as an example of like something similar. Just because it's the only thing he remembers about his mom is like the end. It's not about the good times they shared together and stuff. With Kaori, it's different this time. He's not dwelling on the fact that she's dead. He's living for her. He's living because of her. But he's not remembering all the bad times. He's also remembering all the lessons that she taught him.
Yeah, and that's his whole character development, right?
Yeah.
So,
like just the like you came up with that point. Did that refute your point a little bit at least, or did we go a little off topic?
I feel like my opinion changed sort of later on. I sort of got midway through that he was subconsciously hanging on to the idea of the good part of her.
Yeah.
The back when she sung his lullabies.
Yeah.
Which is what we see with Love is Sorrow. What's that song? If she has feelings for him, why doesn't she go for him?
Well, again, it's because he's all depressed and stuff. Like her excuse is that she didn't want, like in the end, it's like her excuse was it's like I can't just walk up to some girl and be like oh hey I have a crush on this dude, and it's like because why would you? It'd make you look strange that you'd have a crush on a guy you've never spoken to or seen, or like because Watari is like a real hit with the ladies, so it made more sense for her to lie and go with him in order to get closer. Kosei Arima, that's his name, by the way. I just remembered it after 2.5 hours.
What, the main character?
Yeah, it's Kosei Arima.
I only remember his friend A. I don't remember any of their names.
Yeah, she was in love with.
You forgot
Not
his name?
not all of it, Kenyon. But sorry, Kenyon said, "Wait, are you telling me that Landon clutched up and watched it before the podcast started?" Most of it, not all of it. So.
Yeah, I got close.
Yeah, but anyway.
I got to episode 16 out of 22.
But anyways,
I got right back to where they wanted to make a suicide pact.
Yeah, Kenyon, you should watch Your Lie in April. It's fucking great.
It is.
All three of us recommend it.
definitely.
But then basically it's like, but it's like, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Kosei. It's because, it'd be strange if she just went to Kosei because he's all depressed and stuff. Like, I don't think she would think that she could reach him or anything. And so, this way she can, she wants to play the violin because she wanted to do a duet with Kosei, which she does get to do. And so, in a way, it's like, she can't really confess her feelings.
Never looked at it that way.
And on top of that, she knows that she has a sickness that could possibly be fatal. and she doesn't want to get him too incredibly attached so that he's absolutely devastated if / when she dies.
Too bad. Didn't really work out that way.
Yeah. Why was the childhood friend forcing him to play the piano? She must know what his mother was like because her room window is right across from the piano room.
Mm-hmm.
I highly doubt she didn't know what was going on with him. And even later on in the series, we say that she hates music because it takes him away from her.
But because when he stopped playing, part of him died too. Because it was at one point something he really enjoyed doing, and then his mom like twisted it into being like this really shitty thing for him.
Yeah.
But like that's what I think anyways. Is it's like, you know, it's because she knows that in the end he'll be better off with it, even though music will take him away from her anyway. It's like, does she do what's best? Like, she wants him to stay, but she cares about him enough to, you know, let him go and pursue what he's gonna do and his dreams and such.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, and that's why. Well, it's just another aspect of her caring about him so much is that you have to let them do what's going to be best for them and not just for your own selfish reasons.
Yeah. Like I love it. Like it's I don't know. Like this show is like nearly flawless, man. Like I don't know. And basically any problem Land has been having, me and Luke have been able to kind of shut down.
Yeah. This one was already sort of shut down. This is sort of like a question I had earlier. Well, it was sort of like one of the missing lessons I thought I got, but it was wrong. It was more or less embrace the chaos.
Yeah.
That was sort of wrong. Mm-hmm. That was sort of not the main theme. That was sort of the violent part. I already covered that.
I didn't take any notes today. This was the first time. Like I usually take some notes, but like this was the first time I think I ever didn't take notes and felt confident I'd be good enough to just convey my feelings.
Yeah.
Because this we haven't we've looked at this sort of analytically, but it's more of there's nothing really for us to analyze. We usually better talking shit about things. Like when we watch something bad, we could talk about that way more. But we've been able to talk about this a lot because it's so good. It's the first.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, more or less, you guys talked about the emotions more than I did. That's probably also helped.
Yeah.
You had someone else to bounce off with the emotions, and you had someone to bounce off with the logical part of it.
Honestly, no offense, Kenny, but Luke has been the best guest on the podcast so far. I think it's just
one say a slower and the other one be quiet the entire time. That isn't a high standard.
Basically, yeah, but it's I don't know. I think because Luke here's been able to actually really go in and talk about a lot of this stuff. I think Luke, if you ever want to come back, we'll probably be messaging you sometimes. I'll
message you when we redo 3 Days of Happiness, and I want to eat your pancreas.
Probably whenever we do something kind of emotional, because Landon can't really talk about a lot of that stuff because he doesn't feel emotion. Just kidding, but not.
Well,
really.
I do enjoy him.
JK, lol, but not really. But you can't describe it as well as me and Luke can. So.
But I would definitely be interested in coming back for something that I have high interest in.
Yeah, well, we'll keep. I'll keep you posted with stuff. We do an episode every week. Sometimes we just cover something stupid. Maybe we'll bring you in with on How to Train Your Dragon 2 or something. So we've already done the first one. Because you also it's great. I want one of these days. I want to get 4 people on the podcast. 3 is I think the best, but I want to have 4 people. So we can. I mean,
we have had 4 people.
Yeah, but it was Kenyon and Chris. Okay.
We don't talk about stories.
No.
That was when we were talking about my dad as the queen of all VTubers.
That was one of the funniest episodes because Landon's mic was muted for the entire thing. And then I did the same thing on what was it? The second the second wasn't it the second part of
Domestic Girlfriend.
Yeah, like fuck.
I waited 2 weeks for that joke.
It made like a amazing joke, and then I ruined it because I didn't have my mic on.
Yeah, I waited 2 weeks because I got this drink mix, and I finally mixed them together specifically for that. Man, I mixed together emotional damage and titty milk to make domestic girlfriend drink.
Oh well, yeah. Oh
really
no!
Oh
God.
So
So it's just me saying titty milk, and then it's just silent for a few seconds because you can hear Brady laughing on his side,
I was laughing.
but he's muted because I know I was silent.
Yeah. Oh, it was. Oh, that was awesome. I should probably put this back to
All right,
this.
but one final thing that I have to say about Your Lie in April.
Yeah, I think we should
is
probably.
that-
I think we should probably end it like here. It's like we've been going for
Yeah.
almost 2 hours 45 minutes.
I just got halfway through my list, but all right.
I mean, we could keep. I don't mind keeping going, but like, I'm assuming Luke probably has work tomorrow or some shit.
Oh wait, we already did most of the stuff.
I bet we did. Anything
But
else?
my final comment.
Yeah, that's
on-
it. Yeah, that's it.
My final comment on it is that overall, well, currently of shows that I've finished, it is rated number 1. It is my top show that I have ever watched.
I do agree with that.
Honest-
I haven't
But
seen anything
there
else.
is one that I'm currently watching, Breaking Bad, that I think is going to surpass it because it's just flawless.
I've seen
This one is
all of-
currently my
I've-
number 1.
I've seen all of Breaking Bad, but I don't think I don't remember it nearly as fondly as I remember Your Lie in April.
Yeah, I like Breaking Bad for its cinematography. That's
yeah. It's like I don't know, like
very well done.
Yeah, we usually I'll do my closing thoughts. Then Landon, you could do your closing thoughts. Is that it for you, Luke, for your ending statement?
Yeah.
For me, like with this show, it is without a doubt, honestly, now that I think about it more and more, it might be my favorite anime. Like, as much as I love Mob Psycho and One Piece, I love One Piece's manga more, I think, and Dragon Ball, and all these things that have been really influential. I don't think there's a single one of those shows that I don't want to rewatch because I like it too much. Like, I had to work myself up all week to rewatch Your Lie in April, purely because I know, like, I had to distract myself, like, editing the intro while watching the ending, because I don't think I would have been able to do this podcast if I had watched it again.
Yeah.
Like, I got emotional, like, almost started crying, like, 4 times just talking about the show, because that's how much I loved it. Like, that's how much it made me feel something.
Yeah.
And
That's a good thing.
nothing has ever brought this out of me. Like, and so I have to say, if you have not seen Your Lie in April, watch it. Even if you don't think it'd be your thing. Look at it from the perspective of what it is. It's, without a doubt, one of, if not, like, the greatest like, the visuals, the storytelling, the pacing, everything is, like, near perfection. Like, as I said in the intro, it's a masterpiece. And I think I'll just end it on that. This show is an unbridled masterpiece. And now, Landon.
Well, I don't really have very much to add, but other than the fact that I did grow a new appreciation under my changing view from doing these review series. This is probably one of my favorite. I'm gonna have to look for this on DVD. I'm gonna get it. 'Cause it's
I probably will too.
really amazing. Even some of the story scenes I planned for, like the pool scene. Thought that was phenomenally well done. Symbolism. The music really fit. Atmosphere knew how to use it. And they really utilize everything that the anime has to offer. The only thing I ever seen utilized just as well would be I Want to Eat Your Pancreas light novel, where they hide the main character's name.
Till the very end.
And yeah, they sort of use that space to convey how he thinks other people feel.
Mhm.
So that's sort of like one of my favorite parts, because you can see it slowly change throughout the series, especially with his relationships and how he represents his name to them. But it's one of those things that they really utilized everything they could just as well to its maximum, which is something I'm hoping to see more when we do these shows. That's about all I have.
All right, then. As always, I've been your host, the Bardmeister, and I was joined today by my co-host, Andon, and of course, Luke the Tender. And I just want to say thank you for watching. If you are, we don't get a lot of views on these, but if anybody is watching this, thank you for making it this far in. I really hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you all on the very next episode of the Tangentleman Podcast next week. We have no idea what we're doing yet.
Wait, is it my choice or your choice?
It's your choice. Because we ended on
I
Spider-Man.
think we might do an award ceremony. I might save the light novel one for a few weeks.
All right. And anyways,
Award ceremony forever.
This has been awesome. I'm very glad Luke came on the podcast. This was great.
Glad to be here. Really glad to be here.
I had a lot of fun, and I will see you all in the next episode next week.
Wait.
Oh.
Before you end the stream, tune in next week where we choose our recommendations for shows we actually done on the show.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm going to do. I'll work out details throughout the week.
Okay.
Start thinking about which ones you'd recommend out of all of them.
Okay. All right.
That's all I have to say. See ya.
Bye, everybody.